As night falls, neon lights fill the city like colorful veins. Qingyu pushed open the glass door of the convenience store, holding a bag of hot Odin in his hand. The steam rose in the cool breeze, mixed with the salty aroma of kelp and fish balls. He rubbed his temples, and the whispers he heard on the street just now echoed in his mind. The confrontation between the family forces was heating up again. The feud between the Qin family and the Li family has been entangled for generations. Like the sewers of this city, it is hidden under the bright surface and may explode at any time. Hey, Qingyu, have you heard? That guy Qianhao is causing trouble in the port area again. The newsstand owner on the roadside whispered, looking at the flashing police lights in the distance. Qingyu nodded and said nothing more. He is a member of the Li family. Although he is just an ordinary college student, the pressure from the family is like an invisible shackle, always making him breathless. His parents died young, and his uncle and the others were busy dealing with those businesses. What about him? I can only pretend that everything is fine in this noisy city. Returning to the small rented apartment, Qingyu threw off his shoes and collapsed on the sofa. The news was playing on the TV, and the scene cut to the port. A group of people were pushing and shoving, and their shouts were mixed with the crashing waves. The conflict escalated and the police intervened. He turned off the TV, rubbed his eyes and lay down. It was late at night, and the buzz of the city gradually faded away. He closed his eyes and fell into sleep. The dream came suddenly, like a hidden door opening quietly. Qingyu found himself standing on a forest path shrouded in mist, surrounded not by the steel and concrete of the city, but by ancient trees, their branches and leaves rustling in the breeze, and the air was filled with the fresh smell of soil and wild flowers. The moonlight shines like water. He rubbed his eyes and thought, have you had this weird dream again? Ever since he was a child, his dreams have always been so vivid, like another world. Suddenly, a sound of brisk footsteps came from the bushes. A fox with bright orange fur jumped out, its tail raised high and swaying like it was doing a playful dance. The fox stopped in front of him, his eyes bright, as if he could talk. Hello, human boy. Its voice sounded in Qingyu's mind, with a naughty tone. It was not a real voice, but a murmur that went straight to the bottom of his heart. Qingyu was stunned and squatted down. Who are you? The fox can talk? This dream is too ridiculous. He stretched out his hand, but the fox did not hide, but gently nuzzled his fingers with its nose. The furry touch was warm and real. My name is Zihan, and I am the sole guardian of this dream world. Your dream is not ordinary, it connects reality. Zihan's tail waggled even more happily, swinging from side to side, as if drawing invisible symbols. Look at my tail, it's telling you a secret. The grievances of the family, the Qin family and the Li family, the blood debt of generations are about to break out now. The shadow of war has enveloped the city, and only through our souls can the message of peace be conveyed. Qingyu's heart sank, and real-life news scenes flashed through his mind. War? Just because of those old grudges? Impossible. He frowned and stared at Zihan's tail. The rhythm of the swaying tail is wonderful, as regular as Morse code, sometimes rapid, sometimes slow, as if telling a story. Intelligence is pouring in, Qianhao's forces are hoarding supplies at the port, and the Li family's uncle is secretly meeting. The two sides are about to break out, and the street skirmishes are just a prelude. Hey, don't be in a daze. Zihan jumped up, patted his leg with his paw, and threw out a golden light from his tail. You have a golden finger that can control the swaying of our tails and affect reality. Try it. Imagine that your thoughts are like the wind and guide it. Qingyu was dubious and closed his eyes to concentrate. The pressure of the family, the chaos of the city, and the confusion in the dream all turned into a warm current and poured into Zihan's tail. He felt that the tail became soft in his hands, as a beady in his silk thread. He drew it gently, and his tail swayed in an arc, symbolizing reconciliation. Zihan exclaimed excitedly, yes, that's it. Look, it's conveying your intention. The dream began to distort, and the vision zoomed out, and Qingyu seemed to see the port streets in reality. Two groups were facing each other, one was the strong men of the Qin family, and the other was the young men of the Li family. Their fists were clenched, and the smell of gunpowder filled the air. Suddenly, a strange gust of wind blew, and the same picture flashed in people's minds, the swaying fox tail, the phantom of peace. The leading strong man was stunned and murmured, "Wait, this feeling, why do you suddenly not want to fight?" The other party also nodded, "Yeah, when is the time to repay the injustice? Let's go, have a cup of tea and chat." Conflict resolved, simple as that. Qingyu opened his eyes, and the forest path in his dream became brighter. He touched Zihan's head, feeling an unprecedented strength surge in his heart. In the past, he was just a passive bystander, living like a sleepwalker, and the pressure from his family made him breathless. Now, this dream connection is like a key, unlocking his potential. He thought, maybe, I can change everything. End this damn conflict and let the city return to peace. Boy, wake up. Zihan's tail swiped his face and smiled playfully. This is just the beginning. Your thoughts affect reality, but a bigger war is still to come. Do you need allies? Qingyu nodded, and the dream gradually faded away. He sat up suddenly, the lights in the apartment were still on, and the lights of the city outside the window were still on. The TV was not turned off, and the news anchor was reporting in surprise. The conflict in the port area was unexpectedly resolved, and the two sides shook hands and made peace. Is this a miracle? Qingyu's heartbeat accelerated and his palms became sweaty. This is no coincidence, he did it. The doorbell rang and he opened the door. Li Jing was standing at the door, holding a box of hot milk tea in her hand, her long hair fluttering in the night wind. She was his childhood sweetheart, they had grown up together, and she was always as warm as the sunshine in winter. "Qingyu, I heard about the incident at the port. Your uncle and the others just called to say, are you okay? The family matter has become big again, and I'm worried about you being bored at home alone." Qingyu let her in and they sat on the sofa. Li Jing handed over the milk tea, the hot air hit his face, and the chewy texture of the pearls made him feel a little relieved. "Thanks, Jinger. I just had a strange dream." He hesitated, describing the fox in the dream and the wagging tail. Li Jing's eyes widened when she heard it, and she came closer to him. "Fox? The tail is wagging to convey information? Wait, let me see." She suddenly closed her eyes, as if entering some kind of meditative state. Qingyu was surprised. "What are you doing?" Li Jing opened her eyes and smiled. "I have an intuition that I can read the emotions of animals since I was a child. The fox in your dream, with its tail wagging so playfully, must be a naughty ghost. It is saying, don't be afraid, kid, I will take you into the dream world and resolve big troubles." Haha, it sounds like an adventure story, right? Qingyu was stunned, and then couldn't help laughing. Li Jing's interpretation was so natural, like chatting about daily gossip rather than some fantasy event. "Do you believe me? That sounds too ridiculous." Li Jing poked his arm, and the warm touch made his heart warm. "Of course. We have played in the mud together since we were young, and your dream must have a deep meaning. Isn't the incident at the port evidence? Come, tell me the details, and I will analyze it for you." The fox's mood is excited and a little eager, and it wants to guide you to take the initiative. The two of them came together, and Li Jing made tail movements in the air with her hand, imitating Zihan's playful look. "Look, shake it like this. Your thoughts can affect reality. Qingyu, you are not alone, I will accompany you. We will shoulder the family pressure together. Imagine taking a dream adventure and resolving the war, how cool it is. But don't be impulsive, what if there is a monster in the dream?" Qingyu looked at her, feeling confident in his heart. In the past, he always faced his uncle's expectations alone, and the pressure came like a mountain. Now, with Li Jing's company, the mountain has become much lighter. He held her hand. "Thank you, Jinger. Maybe, this is my chance. From passive sleepwalking to actively controlling everything. I decided to go deep into the dream to investigate. Zihan said that there are more secrets." Li Jing nodded, her eyes shining. "Okay. Let's go together. But remember, you also need to have breakfast for adventure." Come on, don't let the milk tea get cold. The night is getting deeper and the city lights are twinkling outside the window. Qingyu lay on the bed, Zihan's playful voice and Li Jing's warm laughter echoing in his mind. He closed his eyes and thought like the wind, preparing to step into the dream forest again. A bigger conflict awaits, but this time, he is no longer a bystander. Qingyu's consciousness was like a boat, sliding along the ripples of the night into dreams. The low hum of the city outside the window gradually faded away, replaced by the gentle scraping of leaves and the gurgling of a distant stream. He opened his eyes and was already standing on the mist-shrouded forest path. The air was cool and moist, mixed with the sweet fragrance of grass and wild fruits. The moonlight is shining, and the mottled silver light is jumping on the ground, like countless elves playing. Zihan's fox figure sprang out from the shadow of the tree, with its tail raised high, swaying golden arcs of light, like a lantern lighting up the night road. "Hey, kid! You're here! And you brought a partner?" Zihan's voice sounded in his head, playful and excited. It turned in circles, its tail swung inward, and its furry body shone softly in the moonlight. Qingyu nodded, the residual warmth of reality still lingering in his heart. The taste of Li Jing's milk tea seemed to still be on the tip of his tongue. He had just chatted with her until midnight before they both went back to their rooms to sleep. He tried to concentrate his thoughts and called in a low voice, "Jinger, are you there? Can this dream be shared?" As soon as he finished speaking, there was a ripple in the air, and Li Jing's figure emerged from the fog. She was wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans, her long hair fluttering in the dreamy wind, her eyes wide open, full of surprise. "Wow, this place is so real. Qingyu, you didn't lie to me. The leaves are cool to the touch, and there is the fragrance of flowers in the wind." Li Jing stretched out her hand and stroked the low shrubs on the side, the leaves rustling on her fingertips. She turned to Zihan and knelt down. "Little fox, you are so cute. Your tail is wagging like you are dancing in a disco, and you are so excited. It must be saying, 'Welcome new friends, let's have fun together.'" Zihan rushed to her legs, rubbed her hand with his head, and swung out a string of happy ripples with his tail, as expected of a master of intuition. "Yes, I am Zihan, the tour guide of dreams. Come on, come with me. This forest is an entry area, with fantasy landscapes inside. It can teach you the basic tricks of tail control. Remember, the swaying of the tail is not a random flick, but a language of emotion, which can convey intentions and connect with reality." 3 people, no, 2 and 1 fox, walked along the trail. The landscape gradually changes, the forest opens up, luminous flowers bloom on the ground, blue-violet light pulses like stars, and the air is filled with a faint smell of honey. In the distance, a suspended stone bridge spans the canyon. The fog is billowing under the bridge, and the low roar of water can be faintly heard. Qingyu took a deep breath, his chest was filled with freshness, and excitement surged into his heart. This place was more real than any VR game, and he felt like an explorer rather than an ordinary kid in the city. Manipulating the tail starts with thoughts. Zihan stopped in front of the stone bridge, swaying his tail slowly, and demonstrated, "Imagine your heart is like the wind, blowing it gently. Quick shake equals alert, slow circle equals reconciliation. Try to guide my tail to draw a peace symbol." Qingyu nodded, closed his eyes and concentrated. The pressure of the family and the joy of the resolution of the port all turned into a warm current. He stretched out his hand and wrapped his thoughts around Zihan's tail like silk thread. It went smoothly at first, and the tail trembled slightly, drawing a half-arc. Li Jing applauded from the side, "Come on. Your thoughts feel like hot chocolate, warm." But just when the arc was about to be completed, Qingyu's mind flashed, his uncle's phone call flashed in his mind, warning him to stay out of the family's business. His thoughts were disconnected, and Zihan's tail flicked violently, swaying violently like a wild horse running wild. The air twisted, and the mist under the stone bridge surged and turned into a black vortex. Small hostile spirits sprang out. They looked like twisted shadow cats, with red eyes and stiff tails that beat the air like whips, making a sharp neighing sound. The landscape collapsed, the flowers faded, the ground cracked, and the wind carried the acrid smell of smoke. Oops! Your fear made them wake up. Zihan jumped onto Qingyu's shoulders, protecting them with his tail. These are shadow souls, minions of hostile forces, infiltrating dreams under Qianhao's influence. They hinder the message of peace. The shadow cat pounced, its claws slicing through the air, bringing a cold touch. Qingyu backed away, his heart beating like a drum, and panic surged in his heart. I can't do it, this is too dangerous. If the control is wrong, wouldn't the reality be in chaos? Li Jing held his hand with a firm voice. Qingyu, don't panic. Look at my intuition. The emotions of these cats are anger, but there is emptiness underneath. They are not really bad, they are just manipulated. Your thoughts failed, but that is not the end, it is learning. Remember when we were skateboarding when we were kids, how many times did you fall? Get up and try again. Only when we are together, the emotional connection is strong. Her words were like a stream of warmth, and Qingyu's fear slowly receded. He looked into Li Jing's eyes, and there was trust there since childhood. Yes, he used to carry it alone, but not anymore. He took a deep breath and held her hand tightly. Thank you, Jinger. You can always see through my blind spots. Come on, try again. This time, it's not just our thoughts, it's our hearts. The shadow cat approached, and Zihan's tail trembled lightly on his shoulders, sending an encouraging rhythm. Qingyu closed his eyes. This time his thoughts were no longer alone. Li Jing's intuition was like a bridge, filling his gap. He imagined that the two people's emotions were intertwined, like pearls and hot milk tea, elastic and sticky. The tail responded, and Zihan's swaying stabilized, drawing a complete arc. Golden light burst out, and the peace symbol spread like ripples. Shadow Cat was stunned, and its red eyes gradually dimmed. Their tails softened, swayed in a hesitant arc, and then receded back into the mist. The landscape is restored, the flowers are shining again, and the sound of water under the bridge is once again gurgling. Successful! Zihan cheered, swinging his tail on a firework-like trajectory. Boy, you have become smarter from a novice. Look, this time the tail information is coming. It's swaying aftermath, interpreting Qianhao's conspiracy. Li Jing came closer and closed her eyes to sense. Well, the rhythm of the tail is from rapid to slow. The intelligence is, Qianhao is hoarding fake goods in the real port, disguised as trade, but actually a prop to incite conflict. The influence of the dream is not enough. He wants to provoke the Li family on a small scale first, force Uncle and you to take action, and then amplify it into a war. Qingyu, this is a preliminary conspiracy, we must quickly send a message of peace to counter it. Qingyu's heart sank, but it was no longer fear, but a mountain of responsibility. From the exciting adventure just now, he realized that this was not a game. Family feud involves countless lives. His golden finger is not a toy, but a tool for change. He nodded with firm eyes. I understand. We can't let Qianhao succeed. We have to learn more and deliver the message strategically. After the words fell, an elder's figure appeared in the mist. Bowen is wearing a simple robe, with silver hair like a waterfall, and eyes as deep as a well of dreams. He walked over with a smile, a faint scent of lavender exuding from his body. Young man, your connection has awakened me. I am Bowen, the guardian of the laws of dreams. The failure just now is a must for getting started. Come and learn basic training from me. They followed Bowen to an open lawn. The ground was as soft as a carpet, and the scent of grass floated in the air. The blog summons several small soul pets: rabbits, birds, cat spirits. Their tails may be long or short, swaying in various patterns. The first rule of dreams: the tail is an emotional bridge, and the message of peace must be conveyed sincerely. Qingyu, your control needs to incorporate emotion. Li Jing, your intuition is the key to interpretation. Try a combination. Qingyu guides the tail to draw the talisman, and Li Jing injects emotional intention. Training begins. Qingyu failed several times at first, and his tail was always twisted. Bowen patiently guided. Don't worry, relax like drinking tea. Imagine peace is like the spring breeze, dissolving the winter snow. Li Jing added, the mood of this rabbit tail is curiosity. Qingyu, add some warmth. Zihan was making trouble on the side, swinging his tail in funny circles, making everyone laugh. Ha, don't be so serious, take risks and be happy. Gradually, Qingyu got started. He guided the tail of a bird spirit to draw the dialogue symbol, and Li Jing injected the trust emotion. The symbols glowed, the bird spirits flew up, and intelligence emerged in the mind. More Qinghao's minions sneaked into the edge of the dream. Bowen nodded, okay, basic mastery. Remember, peace is not forced, but awakening people's hearts. The next level is the border area, where the conflict is more intense. Are you ready to face greater hostility? Qingyu looked at Li Jing and Zihan, and his heart changed from pure excitement to calmness and responsibility. He thought, this is not just my adventure, it is for the city and everyone. In the past, he escaped family pressure, now, he has to take the initiative. Get ready, Bowen. Teach us more. Let's go to the border and uncover Qinghao's full conspiracy. Bowen smiles and the landscape fades. There was a faint red light flashing at the edge of the dream, like a harbinger of war. Li Jing held Qingyu's hand tightly, let's rush together. Zihan's tail swayed to a forward rhythm, and the three of them stepped forward, with unknown whispers in the wind. The mist wrapped around their ankles like a living thing, and the red light pulsed in the cracks of the border, contracting like a heart. Qingyu held Li Jing's hand tightly, his palms sweating slightly, but it was no longer pure nervousness, but mixed with excitement. Zihan scurried back and forth in front, his tail swaying in a rapid and alert rhythm, his furry body looming in the red mist. Be careful. This border is the core area of Dreamland. Qinghao's minions are hidden deep. The intelligence says that there are soul guards here to guard the border, and the message of peace must be dug out from them. Bowen walked beside him, his robe fluttering in the wind, and his voice sounded like a low bell. Lesson 1 of Advanced Strategy, tail swaying is not a one-man fight, it must be coordinated like a symphony. Multiple tails working together can amplify intentions and convey stronger waves of peace. But remember, the ceremony is the key. The signing of the treaty must be held in the heart of the dream, where the Tree of Souls conceal grudges. Only by collecting 3 pieces of peace information can the tree door be opened. If you fail, you will be swallowed by the red mist and cannot return to reality. Li Jing squeezed Qingyu's arm, her voice brisk but firm. It sounds like an RPG game. Qingyu, you are the captain and I am the assistant. The little fox is responsible for reconnaissance. Come on, take a deep breath, this red mist smells like burnt rubber, it's exciting. Her intuitive golden finger allows her to always capture the subtle emotions in the air, and now her tail-like sensitivity is scanning for hidden dangers around her. They go deep into the core area and the landscape changes suddenly. The border is no longer a forest path, but a group of collapsed floating islands suspended in the endless red void. The bridges between the islands are woven with light, and the wind howls by, mixed with a metallic clang. In the distance, a tall tower stood, with runes flashing on the top, as if mocking the intruders. The air was sticky and felt like spider silk. Twisted shadows occasionally flashed in the field of vision, emitting a low roar. The information is on the guard stone tablet at the bottom of the tower. Zihan whispered, pointing his tail towards a floating island. I'm going to explore the path, you guys follow me. It jumped up and ran across the light bridge nimbly, its tail swaying out of an invisible trajectory and blending into the red mist. Qingyu's heartbeat accelerated, and his inner monologue flashed through. The training was fine last time, but this time I face a real enemy. Can I do it? If it fails, won't the family conflict become worse? But Li Jing's eyes gave him strength, and he nodded. Let's go, Jinger. We are not here to play, we are here to change. As soon as we set foot on the floating island, a crisis broke out. The red mist condensed and formed, and 3 soul guards appeared. They were giant wolf spirits, with hairs red as flames, and tails as thick as iron whips, which made explosions like firecrackers when they swayed. Eyes locked on Zihan, he roared, intruder. Master Qinghao's will cannot be violated. The wolf spirit pounced on Zihan, tearing the air with its claws and bringing scorching wind pressure. Zihan reacted quickly and threw out a golden arc with his tail, trying to confuse them. Run. These guys are sent by Qinhao to block the peaceful path. But a wolf spirit was faster, and its tail wrapped around Zihan like a chain, throwing it away and nailing it to the stone wall beside the island. Zihan struggled, his tail swayed feebly, and he let out a painful low cry. Qingyu, information, leave me alone. There was a buzz in Qingyu's head, and fear surged in like a tide. Zihan's loyalty was like a needle piercing his heart. This little fox had been with him since the beginning of his dream, and his playful tail was always the first to explore the way. Now, it is captured, and the red mist begins to engulf its form. The wolf spirit turned towards them, its tail whipping the ground, the floating island trembling, and gravel falling like rain. Humans, get out of the dreamland. Peace? What a joke, Qinhao's war has just begun. Li Jing grabbed Qingyu and said in a sharp voice, Qingyu, don't be stunned. Their emotions are violent, but Zihan is delaying, we have to save it. Her hands trembled, but she did not let go. Qingyu's heart was churning, the fear of failure came again. The last time he controlled a single tail, it was twisted. Now there are multiple tails? If he made a mistake, Zihan would be doomed. But seeing Zihan's tail gradually dimming, he gritted his teeth. No, we can't escape anymore. Family pressure has made me used to shrinking back, but this time, I want to be the leader. For everyone. He took a deep breath, his thoughts exploded like a violent wind, and he stretched out his fingers to point at the tails of the three wolf spirits. Jinger, help me stabilize my emotions. Imagine our friendship is like an anchor, fixing them. Qingyu shouted, his voice echoing in the void. The thoughts were divided into three strands and wrapped around the wolf spirit's tail at the same time. Confused at first, Tails resisted, whipping out sparks that burned his spirit like a whip in his brain. Qingyu's forehead was sweating and his knees were weak. Damn, it's too difficult. The wolf roared mockingly, took a step closer, and scratched his shoulder with its claws, tearing his sleeves apart, causing burning pain. But Li Jing rushed forward and hugged his waist. Qingyu, hold on. Your thoughts are like hot currents, and I feel it melting their violence. I remember when I was a child, you took the lead in climbing trees, and I was afraid of heights. You said, together, we are not afraid. It's the same now. Her intuition poured in, and her friendship was like a warm sun, filling his gap. Qingyu's fear collapsed and was replaced by the flame of bravery. He growled, Tails, listen to me. Swing in a peaceful arc. With precise thoughts, the three tails trembled at the same time, changing from violent whipping to slow circles. The wolf spirit was stunned, its body stiffened, and its red hair gradually faded. No. Impossible, Qinhao's order. Their tails were forced to draw the release symbol, golden light burst out, the chains broke, and Zihan fell. Qingyu rushed forward and caught Zihan's limp body. The little fox panted and its tail swayed weakly. Boy, you can do it, multiple tails, all at once. Its loyalty made Qingyu's nose sore, and he stroked its fur. Thank you, Zihan. You explore the way first, and I will protect everyone. This is my responsibility. The war situation was about to reverse, but the wolf spirit refused to give in and merged into a giant wolf. Its tail danced like a wild snake. The red mist surged, the floating island tilted, and the wind was filled with the smell of sulfur. You can't ruin Qinhao's plan. The giant wolf rushed towards him, its claws like a net. Li Jing's eyes lit up, and she closed her eyes and sensed, wait. The swaying of its tail hides its weakness, violent on the surface, fear underneath. Qinhao's power forces them to be loyal, but at the core is loneliness. Qingyu, let's join forces, you control the talisman, and I inject the emotion of belonging to let them see the warmth of peace. Qingyu nodded, and a new realization emerged in his heart. In the past, I always relied on my own golden finger and felt that I was fighting alone. But now, Jinger's intuition and Zihan's loyalty make me understand that teamwork is king. Friendship is not a burden, it is strength. He laughed, come on, Jinger. Let him taste our combo. The two stood side by side, Qingyu's thoughts guided the tale, and Li Jing's emotions were injected like a bridge. The giant wolf's tail struggled violently and whined, but gradually softened and swayed with hesitant ripples. A refreshing sense of fantasy battle breaks out, the golden light shoots like a laser, the red mist evaporates, and the giant wolf disintegrates into light particles, scattered like fireworks. The floating island is stable, and a stone tablet emerges from the bottom of the tower, engraved with ancient runes. Information is in hand. Zihan jumped up, his tail regained its vitality, and threw a celebratory circle. It rushed to the stone tablet, touched it lightly with its tail, and the runes lit up. The first piece of peace information came to mind, the details of Qinhao's port counterfeiting plan, and the hidden conditions of the treaty ceremony. The three parties need to be united. But just in time to celebrate, an original twist strikes. Bolin suddenly frowned and fished out a little bat soul from the red mist, its tail swaying into an insidious spiral. Spy. Qinhao's spy sneaked into the dreamland to monitor us. It just sent the message back and the border alert will be upgraded. Bat struggled, his eyes flashing red. You can't escape, the war is coming. Qingyu's heart sank, suspense shrouded like a shadow. But he no longer panicked, his eyes were mature. Bolin, this information confirms Qinhao's conspiracy. We have to speed up the pace. How to start the ceremony? Tell us the advanced strategy. Bolin nodded, his silver hair fluttering in the wind. Good boy, you have transformed from fear and become a leader. The second intelligence is in the deeper void. The strategy is, use the joint tail to build an emotional wall to block the spies and pursuers. The treaty ceremony needs to be in front of the Tree of Souls. Qingyu will take the lead in controlling, Li Jing will read people's hearts, and Zihan will convey loyalty. Remember, peace is not about defeating the enemy, but about awakening them. Li Jing patted Qingyu on the shoulder and smiled brightly. Look, you are like a general now. The friendship has been sublimated and we are invincible. Zihan rubbed his leg, wagging her tail in a grateful arc. Boy, thank you for saving me. I will protect you next time. Qingyu looked at his friends, and his heart grew like a spring bud breaking through the ground. From a passive boy in the city to a peaceful seeker now, he understands that change is not the work of one person, but the connection. In the red mist, a faint whisper came from the void, and the next battle was waiting. He clenched his fists. Let's go, second intelligence. We not only resolve the conflict, we also end it. The void behind the floating island is deeper, the red light of the spy is like a trailing will-o-wisp, and the wind is mixed with unknown whispers. Li Jing and Zihan followed closely, and Qingyu took the lead with firm steps. The depths of the void are like an endless pool of ink, and red light swims in the wall like mist, emitting a low hum, like thunder brewing in the distance. Qingyu took the lead, stepping on the frivolous stone path with every step, feeling a cold tremor on the soles of his feet. The air was as thick as syrup, with a faint smell of rust. He looked back at Li Jing. She was following closely, her long hair was blown by the wind, and her eyes sparkled with adventure. Zihan ran ahead, her tail swaying in a pathfinding rhythm, her small figure like a moving lantern in the red mist. Behind the palace, Bolin's silver hair shone slightly in the dim light, and his voice was as steady as a navigator. The second information is hidden in the heart of the maze, which is the trial ground of dreams. Before entering, train first. Your golden finger is not stable yet, and impulsiveness will ruin everything. Maze? It sounds exciting. Li Jing whispered, holding Qingyu's hand tightly, and the warmth in her palm stabilized his heartbeat like an anchor. Qingyu nodded, and there was a rush of blood in his heart. Judging from the victory at the border, I am no longer a novice. But Bolin's words alerted him, power is not omnipotent. Qinhao's spy proved that the enemy is always in the dark. They stepped into the entrance of the labyrinth. An archway opened like the mouth of a giant beast. The inner walls were piled with glittering rune stones. The passages were winding and winding. Echoes reverberated in the air. Every turn was mixed with the ticking sound of water drops. Zihan's tail suddenly stiffened, and he waggled briefly in warning, there is a trap ahead. Qinhao's men may be ambushing. Bowen waved his hand, and a light curtain rose to separate the fog of the maze. Don't worry, the training starts here. This maze is a simulation field that can reproduce war scenes. Your mission: use your tail wagging to convey a message of peace and resolve virtual conflicts. The landscape was distorted, and the center of the maze turned into a phantom of a battlefield. The ground cracked into scorched earth, smoke billowed in the distance, and virtual family forces faced off. Strong men from the Li family holding sticks, soldiers from the Qin family waving chains, and shouts of killing came like a flood. The smell of burnt wood filled the air, a heat wave hit my face, and the ground shook like an earthquake. Several neutral pet souls emerged. An eagle spirit hovered in the sky, its tail spread out like wings. A turtle spirit huddled in the soil, its tail slowly squirming. Their eyes are neutral, swaying with a hesitant arc, waiting to be convinced. Qingyu, take the lead and control. Bowen guided, with a voice like an elder talking about ancient times. Imagine your thoughts like a river, not impatient or impetuous. The message of peace with a wagging tail needs to be advanced step by step. First draw the truce symbol, inject trust, and then spread into ripples. If you use too much force, the dream will backfire, and reality will be chaotic. Qingyu took a deep breath and stood in the center of the battlefield. The virtual conflict escalated, the clang of the sticks hitting each other was deafening, and a phantom of the Li family was hit by an iron chain, rolling to the ground and wailing. He concentrated, and his golden fingers stretched out like an invisible hand, locking the eagle spirit's tail. Come on, let's end this mess. Thoughts poured in, and his tail began to sway, drawing a smooth truce symbol, and the golden light spread like a net. The eagle spirit chirped, swooped down, and flapped its tail wings, bringing in fresh air and dissolving some of the smoke. The soldiers were stunned, their sticks lowered, and they murmured, "This feeling, why don't you want to fight?" "Good job." Li Jing clapped her hands and came closer to him. "Your thoughts are much more stable, as warm as the last milk tea. My intuition tells me that the eagle spirit's mood has changed from neutral to curious, and it is saying, 'More, convince me.'" She closed her eyes to inject emotion, and her intuition was like a bridge, making the symbols more vivid. Zihan jumped to Qingyu's feet and swung his tail into an auxiliary circle, intelligence support. Qinhao's virtual minions are in the east. Their tails are wagging rapidly, hiding their weaknesses. They are afraid of being alone. The training went well and Qingyu's confidence grew. He laughed. This is just the beginning. Overly excited, he ignored the warning in the blog post, and his thoughts poured out like a flood. He simultaneously controlled the tails of the eagle spirit and the turtle spirit, and even tried to influence the tail phantom of the virtual warrior. The golden light surged, and ripples of peace swept across the battlefield like a tsunami. The conflict instantly collapsed, the soldiers knelt down, and the phantoms dissipated into points of light. Maze tremor, successful. But Qingyu felt a stabbing pain in his head, like being pricked by needles, and his vision was blurred. "Qingyu?" Li Jing's voice faded away. The dream came back, the void twisted, and the red mist rushed like a wild beast, swallowing up the light curtain. Bowen frowned. Too urgent. The double-edged sword of power, the backlash will amplify the conflict in reality. Qingyu's consciousness tugged, and he felt reality calling. My vision went dark, and when I woke up, I was already on the bed in the apartment, my clothes soaked with sweat. It was already dawn outside the window, and the TV news broadcast loudly. Clashes broke out again in the port area. A small-scale fight broke out between the Li family and the Qin family, and several people were injured. The police cordoned off the scene, and the shadow of war enveloped the city. Qingyu's heart sank to the bottom. The call from his uncle came immediately with an angry voice. "Boy, your uncle and I are busy cleaning up the aftermath, and there is another big commotion at the port. Qinhao's men said that we were the first to strike, and now both sides are red-eyed. Don't idle at home, come and help." The phone hung up, Qingyu sat down, and his inner monologue was like, "Damn it, I thought that strong control would lead to a quick victory, but the backlash made the reality even more chaotic. In the past, I impulsively avoided family matters, but now I impulsively use my strength, and the result is the same disaster for everyone. This golden finger is not a toy, It is a responsibility. I have to learn to be balanced and make careful decisions, so that I can no longer worry Jinger and Zihan. The door opened, and Li Jing rushed in, panting, holding a steaming breakfast bun in her hand. Qingyu, I felt something wrong just after I woke up. The backlash in my dream. I saw the news. There was another fight at the port, and your excessive manipulation accelerated Qin Hao's conspiracy. She sat down, held his hand, and her intuition swept through his emotions like a gentle probe. Don't blame yourself, your heart is beating like a deer. But this is the pain of growing up. From impulse to balance, you are a true hero. I remember when you were impulsive and fell down a tree. I pulled you up and said, slow down next time, safety first. It's the same now. Let's find a solution together. Her words were like a clear spring extinguishing the fire in his heart. Qingyu nodded, and his eyes changed from confusion to determination. Thank you, Jinger. You can always see through my blind spots. I can no longer do it alone like before. Strength must be matched with wisdom. He took a deep breath, and the meaty aroma of the buns made him relax. Let's go back to the dreamland. There must be a solution to the blog post, and I have to learn to control it. Falling asleep again, they reunited in the maze. The red mist has dissipated, leaving scorch marks on the phantom of the battlefield. Bowen is waiting there with a serious but encouraging expression. The backlash is a lesson. The reality of the conflict has intensified, but it also exposed Qin Hao's impatience. He sent his men to interfere. Look, the shadow over there. Zihan sprang out, tail swaying to reveal information. Yes. A spy soul of Qin Hao, disguised as a neutral turtle spirit partner, just wanted to make a sneak attack. It has a needle hidden in its tail, specially designed to amplify the backlash. Crisis reappears. The disguised soul appeared, and a scorpion-like soul beast sprang out, its tail like a poisonous hook, swaying in an insidious spiral, and the red mist condensed again. The walls of the maze are cracked, rubble is raining down, and the wind is filled with a sour and poisonous smell. It pounced on Qingyu. Master Qin Hao said, peace. Dreaming. Your backlash is just an appetizer. The hooked tail swept forward, cutting through the air, bringing a scorching threat. Qingyu instinctively retreated, fear flashed across his body, but Li Jing's instinct shouted, Qingyu, don't fight hard. Its emotion is jealousy, hidden underneath is loneliness. Use a new method. Tame the neutral soul. Bowen nodded. Yes, advanced skills, not only control the tail, but also connect the heart. Find the real neutral turtle spirit, it is in the soil, waiting for you to wake it up. The training crisis escalated. Qingyu knelt down and carefully dug his thoughts into the soil. After overuse, his golden fingers became weak, like a broken string. But he didn't act impulsively, and kept silently thinking, balance and caution. Think of friendship as a root, deep in the soil. The turtle spirit emerged slowly, its shell was engraved with ancient patterns, and its tail wriggled in a slow, neutral rhythm. Human, you want to convince me? Its voice was like an underground echo. Yes. Qingyu whispered, his voice as steady as a rock. It's not forcing, it's sharing. War destroys everything, but peace can give you belonging. Li Jing came closer and injected intuition. The mood of the turtle spirit is fatigue, and it wants to settle down. Qingyu, add some warmth, like when we have breakfast together. Zihan touched the turtle spirit with his tail, conveying information. Qin Hao's scorpion is approaching, but you have a chance to reverse it. Qingyu nodded, his thoughts as gentle as feathers, guiding the turtle spirit's tail to sway. This time it's not a flood, but a trickle. Draw the connection symbol. The turtle spirit responded, extending its tail and turning into a vine to wrap around the scorpion. Golden light bursts out, and a new mode is unlocked. Tail communication changes from one-way control to two-way resonance. The scorpion's poisonous hook froze, its tail was forced to swing in a hesitant arc, and the red mist evaporated. It whined, no. Qin Hao's order. But the resonance spread, the scorpion disintegrated into light dust, and the maze returned to calm. Successful. Bowen laughed and patted Qingyu on the shoulder. Boy, you have transformed from impulsive to decision-maker. This new mode is called heart-tail resonance, which can reverse hostility and unlock more intelligence. Qinghao's obstacles are beginning to appear, but he underestimated your growth. Qingyu stood up, feeling like he was reborn. I used to think that power was everything, but now I understand that only by balancing it can real change occur. Confidence spread like wings. He looked at his partners. Thank you everyone. This time, I will not go too far. The conflict at the port is a wake-up call, and we are preparing for the first realistic intervention. Use this new model to send a message of peace to Qinghao's men and disintegrate it from a small point. Li Jing hugged his arm and smiled brightly. Yes. We are invincible. Zihan, where is the next piece of information? The little fox's tail flicked out excited fireworks, deep in the maze. But there will be more interference from Qinghao, so be prepared to take risks. Bowen nodded, and the maze passage lit up, leading deeper. Qingyu took the lead, walking briskly, with the fragrance of victory in the wind. The shadow of reality is still there, but their connection, swaying like a tail, heralds a reversal. The depths of the maze were like a winding python. The rune stones on the walls glowed slightly under their footsteps, and the air was filled with the smell of moist moss mixed with a faint hum of electricity. Qingyu took the lead, his mind reaching forward like a thin thread, taking every step carefully. The stone path under his feet occasionally made a slight cracking sound, as if to remind him not to be too conceited. Behind him, Li Jing's breathing was steady. Her hand occasionally touched his arm, and the familiar warmth made his heart warm. Zihan scurried to the side, her tail swaying in a playful Z-shape, as if she was deliberately amusing. Hey, kid, don't walk so slowly. The maze won't wait for you to drink a cup of milk tea before opening the door. Bowen's voice was as gentle as an elder telling a story. The second piece of information is in the Phantom Palace at the end. Remember, heart-tail resonance is not a quick success, and you need to be more cautious when intervening in reality. Qinghao's power has penetrated the fringe, and the firefight at the port is just the beginning. A fringe war is about to break out in the suburbs. The men of both families are fighting for the old warehouse there, and Qinghao is personally sitting at the negotiation table. Your skills can affect that preliminary negotiation. Qingyu nodded, feeling a weight of responsibility in his heart. The last backlash made the port more chaotic, and I can't do it again. But with them here, this time will be different. They pushed open the palace door, and inside was a rotunda hall with a crystal ball floating in the center, which reflected the reality of a suburban warehouse. Under the gray sky, two groups of people faced off. Qinghao's tall and thin figure stood in the middle with a sneer on his face. His men were holding iron pipes, and the air was filled with the smell of gunpowder. Beside the crystal ball, an ancient soul bird hovered, its tail feathers swaying slowly like a fan. Information is coming. Zihan jumped on the crystal and touched it lightly with his tail. The bird's spirit responded and drew a spiral symbol with his feather tail. The second piece of peace information came to mind. Qinghao's preliminary negotiations were a cover. He planned to use false information to provoke a warehouse conflict, force the Li family to take action first, and then amplify it into a full-scale war. The hidden conditions of the treaty emerge. 3 evidences of the heart need to be awakened to prove that peace is not forced, but voluntary. Li Jing closed her eyes to sense, and when she opened them, her eyes were bright. The emotion of the bird's spirit is sadness, and it is saying, human greed has ruined the balance. Qingyu, we have to return to reality quickly and influence the negotiation. Imagine that our tail messages are like ice cubes thrown into hot soup, instantly cooling their anger. The dream faded. Qingyu sat up suddenly, the sunlight in the apartment shone through the window, and the clock pointed to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The news is still broadcast. The confrontation in the suburban warehouse has escalated. Qinghao, on behalf of the Qin family, is asking the Li family to make concessions. Negotiations are about to break out. The message from the uncle has arrived. Boy, come to the edge of the warehouse to support. That old fox Qinghao is playing tricks, don't let him success. Qingyu rubbed his temples and looked at Li Jing. She was also awake, rubbing her eyes and smiling. Wake up at the same time? The dream connection is getting better and better. Let's go, remember to bring some snacks, maybe Zihan will pass on the information. They rushed to the suburbs. The warehouse area was like an abandoned maze. The smell of rust mixed with the sea breeze, and the distant shouts of confrontation could be heard faintly. Qingyu hid behind a container on the roadside, closed his eyes and concentrated, trying to extend the resonance of his heart and tail into reality. Thoughts are like bridges, connecting the soul pets on the edge of the dream. Several invisible rat spirits and cat spirits sneak into the negotiation scene, their tails are bridges. He whispered, convey peaceful intentions and draw the dialogue symbol to make Qinhao's men hesitate. It went well at first. In the warehouse, Qinhao sneered and said to the representatives of the Li family, "You, the Li family, give in first, otherwise the warehouse will be a battlefield." His men nodded and tightened their grip on the iron pipe. But suddenly, the tails of several rat spirits swayed slightly, and the golden light spread invisible. Phantoms flashed through the minds of his men. The symbols drawn by the tail were like warm wind, evoking memories of carefree childhood. A strong man from the Qin family was stunned and murmured, "Boss, wait. Why do you suddenly feel that this grudge is boring?" The atmosphere of the negotiation eased, and the representative of the Li family nodded, "Yes, sign a temporary peace treaty and cease fire first." Qingyu was overjoyed, "It's done. This is the first real-life application. It feels like controlling a remote control car, which is very refreshing." Li Jing clenched her fist at the side, "Your mind is as steady as an old dog. Look, they are shaking hands." But the turn came suddenly. Qinhao's eyes narrowed, and he suddenly growled, "Who is doing this?" It turned out that he had set a trap. A dream disruptor was buried around the warehouse. It was an antique obtained by the Qin family from the black market and could cut off the connection. There was a distortion in the air. Qingyu's thoughts felt like they were being clamped by iron pliers, and the pain in his brain felt like an electric shock. The tails of the rat spirit and cat spirit stiffened, and the swaying turned into a chaotic dance. The golden light came back, and the shouts in the warehouse in reality rose again. Qinhao's men came to their senses and waved the iron pipe, "Intruder! The Li family is causing trouble." A fringe war broke out, a small-scale firefight began, the sound of bullets and the impact of sticks echoed, and smoke and dust were everywhere. Qingyu knelt down, his vision blurred, sweat dripping. "Damn, the connection is broken, I can't hold it alone." The crisis of being isolated and helpless flooded him like a tide, and he panicked inside. "I was too conceited again, thinking that Golden Finger was invincible, but the trap made everything in vain. What if Jinger is injured and the family completely collapses? I used to be used to carrying things alone, but now I understand that being alone is a dead end." Li Jing rushed forward, hugged him and shook him. "Qingyu, don't panic, I feel Zihan's tail signal is still there." As soon as he finished speaking, a strange wind blew, and Zihan's phantom emerged. The little fox's tail swayed in a rapid S shape in the air, playful but firm. "Boy, don't cry. Qinhao's jammer only blocks the road, and my little tail goes through dog holes." Intelligence, its weak point is the signal tower on the top of the warehouse. I smashed it and the connection was restored. "Jinger, read my tail, it's saying the team fights back, don't let the boss eat it all." Li Jing closed her eyes, intuitively scanning like a radar, and laughed when she opened them. "Yes. Zihan's emotions are excited and naughty, and it hides the back door. Qingyu, we join forces, you control the tail, I inject emotions, and Zihan leads the way. I remember when we were children, we stole mangoes from the neighbor together, and you said, 'I climbed the tree, you let loose,' but I pulled you down and said, 'Idiot, it's fun together.' It's the same now, don't be a lone hero." Her words melted his panic like hot chocolate. Qingyu stood up, his eyes changed from confusion to relying on the warmth of his partner. "Thanks, Jinger. You are always my anchor. Zihan, lead the way." The emotional warmth quietly deepened at this moment. He held her hand, no longer Qingmei's habit, but the tacit understanding of his partner's. The heat transmitted by his palm made his heart skip a beat. The three of them, 2 and 1 phantom, bypassed the fight area and sneaked into the side of the warehouse. Zihan's tail was like a compass, swaying out of an invisible path, and flicking playfully, "Follow me, don't step on Qinhao's banana peel." The light novel-style humor relieved the tension, and Qingyu couldn't help but chuckle. "You fox, do you think war is a game?" Li Jing poked him. "Haha, it is relaxing the atmosphere. Look, top that tower." The signal tower stood like an iron thorn, pulsating with red light. Chen Hao's men were guarding there, a few strong men waving iron pipes. Qingyu's mind restarted. Although the connection was broken, the remaining power was enough. He locked onto the soul of the wild cat guarding the surrounding area, a pet that was an extension of the dream, with its tail hidden in the grass. "Jinger, inject the hesitant emotion into them and make them neutral." Li Jing nodded, her intuition injected like warm current, and her tail swayed in a gentle arc. Phantoms flashed through the guard's mind, peaceful intentions conveyed by the tail, like the whispers of a mother in childhood. A strong man threw down the iron pipe. "Brothers, this fight is not going well. Boss Chen may be wrong." Some hostile forces were neutral and turned around to leave, and the shouts in the fighting area weakened. "The opportunity has come." Zihan rushed up to the tower, threw out a golden arc with his tail and broke the core line. The jammer exploded with sparks and the connection was restored. Qingyu laughed. "Now, counterattack in full force." He controlled multiple tails to send ripples of peace to the negotiation site. Chen Hao was stunned, and his subordinates hesitated. "Boss, this feels like a fox tail wagging in a dream. Peace doesn't seem bad." Just when a small victory was in sight, Bowen's voice sounded in his mind. The backup strategy was like timely rain. "Good boys, I fuel the fire from the dream." Remember, the historical secret of the treaty, it originated from the ancient dream war. The ancestors of the Chen family were peacemakers, but the greedy greed has distorted the bloodline. This is the weakness of Chen Hao's dream. He hides the guilt for his family's past, like a fox with a broken tail, which will be exposed when it sways. Use resonance to explore his dreams and awaken that guilt, which can break down his resistance. Qingyu was shocked. Isn't Chen Hao pure evil? The depth made him more determined. The thought extended and lightly touched Chen Hao's subconscious. A hidden tail image emerged, swaying out of a lonely arc. Chen Hao's face changed slightly and he murmured, "This is impossible." The negotiation turned and he reluctantly nodded. "Temporary ceasefire, the warehouse will give in." But this is not the end. The marginal war was resolved and a small victory was achieved. The fighting stopped, the two sides dispersed, the suburbs returned to tranquility, and the sea breeze blew away the smoke and dust. Qingyu and Li Jing leaned on the container to catch their breath. She handed over the water bottle and smiled. "Hero, are you thirsty? I can see your growth in my eyes, from a lone wolf to the wolf king of the team." Zihan's phantom rubbed against his leg, and his tail swung in a funny circle. "Yes. Remember to treat me to chicken drumsticks next time." Intelligence fee. Qingyu looked at her, feeling like a spring breeze blowing through his heart. "In the past, I thought peace depended on one person, but now I understand that the connection between partners is invincible. Chen Hao's weakness is revealed, and the road to this treaty is closer." He held her hand tightly. "Jinger, thank you. With you, I am a staunch guardian. Let's continue with the third intelligence." As the sun sets, the shadow of the warehouse lengthens, and they move towards the next battle. There is a faint wagging of their tails in the wind, indicating a greater reversal. The afterglow of the setting sun lengthened the rusty shadow of the warehouse. Qingyu and Li Jing walked back to the car side by side. The sea breeze mixed with the salty smell of smoke blew away the tension of the fight just now. A notification popped up on the news app. Suburban negotiations were suspended, and both parties shook hands to make peace. However, netizens' comment section was already bombarded with comments such as "Chen Hao, an old fox, must have a backup plan." Qingyu rubbed his temples, and the hand holding the steering wheel trembled slightly. "Jinger, the reversal just now felt like playing a difficult level." But the look in Chen Hao's eyes, he knew that something was affecting him. This third piece of information must be obtained quickly, otherwise the flames of war will rekindle at any time. Li Jing leaned against the passenger seat and bit into a lollipop pulled out of the car. The sound of the candy wrappers clicking echoed in the car. She poked his arm and smiled like a little fox. "Hey, hero, don't be so sad. Zihan's tail signal is still wagging in his head. It says, the third copy is at the core of the dream, at Qinghu's fortress, and it's exciting. We go home and take a nap, and then go straight to sleep. I remember when we were children, we would tell ghost stories under the quilt, but now we change it to adventure stories, haha. Qingyu nodded, feeling warm in his heart. From the isolation crisis in the warehouse to the tacit understanding now, he felt that he was no longer a dazed young man working alone. As the car drove into the night, the lights of the city lit up like a galaxy. They each went home, with Bowen's prophecy swirling in their minds. The third proof of intention is the key fragment of the treaty, which can awaken Qinghu's transformation potential. Late at night, Qingyu was lying on the bed, his thoughts like the old kite strings, gently pulling his consciousness to slip into dreamland. Familiar mist lingers, and the forest path has turned into a dark tunnel leading to the core. The walls are like pulsating blood vessels, and red light oozes faintly. Zihan jumped out, his tail raised high and swaying, and he turned playfully, "Boys, here we come." "Where is Jinger?" "Oh, she came in at the same time." The blog post said that the core area is Qinghu's fortress, guarded by an army of souls. The goal, steal the fragment of the treaty. It is hidden in the main hall of the fortress. It is like a shining gem that can connect 3 hearts and start the ceremony. Li Jing's figure emerged from the fog. She rubbed her eyes and stretched. "Wow, this tunnel is cool, like the wind in a subway station." "Qingyu, take the lead, your leadership is super stable now." A voice came from the blog, like a deep echo. "Young man, we are on the edge, providing remote support." The ultimate skill, group tail resonance, not manipulation, but awakening. Imagine your team is like a big tail, swaying the collective emotions and disintegrating the enemy. Be careful, Qinghu's fortress will amplify fear. At the end of the tunnel, the fortress stood out, a huge fortress made of obsidian, with towers like claws piercing the void, red mist entwined like blood, and the surrounding air sticky like hot oil, mixed with the pungent smell of sulfur and rust. The army of souls guarding the gate has assembled hundreds of twisted soul beasts, from wolf spirits to scorpion shadows, their tails whipping the air like whips, making explosions like firecrackers. Their eyes were red, and they roared in unison, "Invaders! Master Qinghu's fortress cannot be tarnished." The army surged in like a tide, their claws stamped on the ground and shook the floating island. The red mist surged, and the edges of the dreamland began to crack. The void shattered like glass, making a harsh clicking sound. Qingyu's heart sank, and he instinctively reached out with his mind, trying to control the tail of the wolf spirit in the front row. But there are too many, and the golden fingers are buzzing like overloaded wires. His mind felt like being pricked by thousands of needles, and his vision was blurred. "Jinger, Zihan, stay back. These guys, there are too many." He gritted his teeth and insisted, manipulating several tails to draw a peaceful arc, but the army came like a tsunami, and a giant wolf pounced on him, and its claws scratched his shoulder, causing burning pain. The collapse of the dream accelerated, and the stones around the fortress fell into the void. There was a sharp whistling in the wind. Qingyu's knees softened, and the panic in his heart spread like wildfire. "It's over, this time it's not a small fight, my golden fingers can't hold it on." If it collapses, wouldn't the reality be direct war? I always wanted to be a personal hero in the past, but now I realized that I was overestimating my abilities. Li Jing pulled him, with a quick but firm voice. "Qingyu, don't carry it alone. Look at my intuition. The emotions of these souls are violent, but underneath is forced emptiness. They seem to be controlled by Qinghu's red mist, and their tails are wagging stiffly. There is a tacit understanding of the team, remember? We are together, get up." Zihan jumped onto his shoulder, her tail protecting his neck, and she said playfully and decisively, "Boy, listen to Jinger. I'm here to help." The little fox's tail suddenly lit up with golden light, and it roared, swinging out like a wind pliers, injecting the source of Qingyu's thoughts. The pain of sacrifice made Zihan's body tremble, and the furry touch became cold. "Use my power, group resonance, don't let me go in vain." The power of Zihan's tail was like hot oil injected into an engine, and Qingyu's panic was instantly transformed. The inner monologue flashed like lightning, "No, I am not a lone wolf. Jinger's intuition, Zihan's loyalty, and Bowen's wisdom are my strength." From a personal hero to a collective hero, this transformation made me see clearly that peace depends on all of us. He stood up straight and shouted, "Jinger, inject emotion. Zihan's sacrifice cannot be in vain, let's connect our tails." Li Jing nodded, closing her eyes, her intuition stretched like a bridge, scanning the emotions of the army. Their tails hide hesitation, just like when we were children. We were afraid of the dark, but you hold my hand and we are no longer afraid. Inject belonging. Qingyu, draw a big arc. Qingyu's burst of thoughts is no longer a single control, but a group guide like a conductor. The power of Zihan's sacrifice amplified, and all the tails were connected like a galaxy, the thick tail of the wolf spirit, the hooked tail of the scorpion shadow, and even the neutral souls around the fortress, all swayed into a unified ripple of peace. The golden light swept like ocean waves, the red mist evaporated, and the army was stunned. The tail turned from stiff to soft, and the roar turned into a whisper, "This feeling of peace. Lord Chenhao, why?" Morale collapsed, the soul beasts retreated, the fortress gates suddenly opened, the edge of collapse stopped, and the void returned to calm. Bowen's voice came from a distance, with approval, "Well done. This is the ultimate technique, the great resonance of the heart and tail. It is not a conquest, but an awakening. Their tails have now remembered your collective emotions, and they will hesitate next time they meet. Enter the castle, the fragments are inside." But Chenhao has noticed it. They rushed into the inner hall of the fortress. The air was even hotter, the walls were engraved with twisted war runes, and a crystal fragment floated on the central altar, flashing blue light, pulsing like a heart. Suddenly, the heart of the fort twisted, and a tall and thin figure appeared, Chenhao himself. He is not the real person, but a dream projection, with a gloomy face, eyes as cloudy as red mist, and a phantom tail swaying in an insidious spiral around his body. "Boys, do you think you can steal the fragments by disintegrating my army? Qingyu of the Li family, right? Your golden finger has ruined so many of my plans." Qingyu stood still, the team's tacit understanding made him fearless. He stared at Chenhao and his voice was as steady as a rock, "Chenhao, this is not a personal grudge. The war has destroyed the city, and the blood debt of the family should end. Your army of souls has unwillingness hidden under its tail. Why don't you change?" Li Jing came closer and interpreted, "His emotions are violent and guilt-ridden, like a broken tail trembling. Qingyu, ask him in the past." Chenhao sneered, but his eyes flickered, "Change? A joke? Didn't your uncle tell you? In ancient times, the Chen family and the Li family were allies. My grandfather and the ancestors of the Li family signed a peace treaty to resolve the Dream War. That fragment is evidence. But the Li family later tried to black market resources, betrayal of the covenant, destroyed my father's family. I swore revenge, but I didn't know that this cycle ruined everything." The phantom of his tail swayed out of the hidden arc, revealing the potential for transformation. Guilt was like a crack, and blue light reflected from the fragments, illuminating his face. The original twist was like a lightning strike. Qingyu was stunned, with complex emotions welling up in his heart. "You, and my uncle?" It turns out it's not just hatred, but a chain of misunderstandings. This revelation made him grow deeper, from seeing enemies as evil to understanding the gray of history. Li Jing held his hand tightly. "Look, Chenhao's tail is softening. We are not here to fight, but to repair. Use resonance to wake him up." Chenhao roared, and the red mist condensed again, trying to counterattack. "Don't even think about it." But Qingyu's team had already moved. Although Zihan was weak, his tail twitched slightly to assist. Li Jing injected guilt-transformed emotions. Qingyu dominated the great resonance, and the fragmented blue light blended with the ripples of his tail. Chenhao's projection trembled, and his tail was forced to draw a circle of hesitation. "No. This feeling, grandfather's peace." He did not collapse, but took a step back, and the fragments rolled into Qingyu's hands without any hindrance. Blue light flooded into my mind, and I got the third proof of my heart. the details of the treaty ceremony. It needs to be in front of the Tree of Souls. The three parties' minds are unified. Qinhao's transformation is the key. The fortress shook, and Qinhao's projection faded away, leaving behind a sentence, "Boy, this is not the end. We will see the real story next time." The dream was stable, but the shadow on the eve of the climax shrouded. In reality, the bell of war has sounded. Qingyu held the fragments tightly and looked at his partners. "Thank you everyone. Zihan, your sacrifice. I will make up for it. Jinger, this transformation from individual to collective makes me understand that peace is the web we weave." Li Jing smiled, and Zihan wagged his tail weakly. "Hey, are there any chicken legs in the web?" Bowen's voice sounded, "Good kids, the ceremony is about to begin. Return to reality and prepare for the final fight." The fog came in, and their consciousness was brought back, and the fragmented blue light lingered in their minds. In the darkness of the city, a bigger storm is brewing. Qingyu's consciousness fell from the blue light of the dream like a kite with a broken string, and he opened his eyes suddenly. The ceiling fan in the apartment was squeaking, the curtains were fluttering in the morning breeze, and the golden sun shone into the ground, mixed with the scent of fried dough sticks from the street breakfast stall. He sat up, his shoulders still stinging from the claw marks in his dream, and Qinhao's gloomy whisper echoed in his mind, "Next time, we'll see the truth in reality." The blue light of the fragments had integrated into his golden fingers, swimming through his meridians like a warm current, but exhaustion came like a tide. The battle at the fortress was too fierce. Although Zihan's sacrifice power helped him to achieve great resonance, it made him feel as if he had run a marathon and his whole body was sore. The doorbell rang, and Li Jing pushed open the door and walked in, holding 2 cups of soy milk and sesame biscuits with meat in her hands. The steaming aroma instantly filled the room. She dropped her things, moved closer to him, and glanced at his face. "Qingyu, are you awake? You look so pale, as if you have lost your soul. That chase in the dream. Zihan's tail almost burned out because of you. Come, eat something to replenish your strength." She handed over the sesame seed cake, the meat juice dripped, and the crunch of the bite made Qingyu's stomach growl. He took it and took a bite. The aroma of meat exploded in his mouth, but he had difficulty swallowing. Inwardly, self-blame climbed up like a shadow. "Jinger, fortress just now. I was too conceited. Although the group resonance is great, if it weren't for you, I would have been swallowed up by the army." The eyes of Qinhao's projection seemed to be mocking me, thinking I would win if I took the fragments. In reality, the family conflict must be more chaotic. He rubbed his temples, and news pictures flashed through his mind. Ports, warehouses, what will happen next? The bells of war seemed to have sounded. Li Jing sat down, and the touch of her legs was warm. She poked his forehead and laughed and scolded, "Idiot, are you blaming yourself again? When you were a child, you fell down and kept silent like this. I always had to pull you up. It's the same now. It's not your fault, it's the price of growing up." I just sensed Zihan's tail signal, saying, "Boy, don't cry, the information is coming, Qinhao is on the alert, there's something big going on at the edge of reality. Let's eat together and go back to dreaming to find Bowen." Qingyu looked at her, and the shadow in his heart eased a little. Li Jing's intuition is always like sunshine, piercing his darkness. He nodded and wolfed down the sesame seed cakes. "Thanks, Jinger. With you as my childhood sweetheart, I won't collapse. Let's go and resume training. We can't let Qinhao succeed." When they fell asleep again, the mist surrounded them like old friends, and they landed in the restored forest of their dreams, a lush green lawn with blooming wildflowers and the fresh smell of honey and grass filling the air. Bowen was already waiting there, his silver hair shining in the sun, his robes fluttering in the wind, like a retired martial arts instructor. He walked over with a smile, holding a glowing leaf in his hand. "Young people, welcome back. During the Battle of Fortress, your group resonance has touched the core of the treaty. But recovery is the key. Qingyu, your thoughts are overloaded, like a burned-out circuit. Come, eat this recovery leaf, it can repair the golden finger." Qingyu took the leaf and took a bite. The juice entered his throat like nectar, and most of his fatigue disappeared instantly. Bowen patted him on the shoulder, with a gentle but deep voice. Boy, you have grown from a personal hero to a team leader. But war is not a child's play. In reality, Qinghao has already taken action. His men have gathered on the edge of the city, disguised as a trade convoy, to actually transport weapons. The influence of the dream is out of control, and the aftermath of your resonance has awakened some neutral souls, but also alarmed Qinghao's fortress. He sent assassins to sneak here, trying to cut off our connection. As soon as he finished speaking, the wind picked up in the forest, and red mist seeped out from the edge of the lawn. An assassin soul emerged, shaped like a black shadow leopard, with a tail like a poisonous blade, swaying insidious sawtooth arcs, its eyes locked on Qingyu. Master Qinghao's order will destroy your golden finger. The leopard shadow pounced, its claws slashed through the air, bringing a cold scratching feeling. The chase in the dreamland broke out, and a refreshing sense of adventure ran through my spine like electricity. Qingyu retreated instinctively, trying to control it with his mind, but his strength had not yet been fully restored, and the arc of his tail was twisted. Damn, it's not stable yet. Li Jing shouted, Zihan, information. The little fox sprang out from the grass, and although its tail was weak, it whipped out in a rapid S shape. The assassin's weakness is at the root of the tail. Qinghao's red mist is injected, but at the bottom below is fear. Jinger, work together to repair Qingyu's connection. Li Jing nodded, her intuition extending like a thread. She took Qingyu's hand. Qingyu, don't panic. Think of our friendship as a rhizome, rooting into your mind. Zihan's tail serves as a bridge, and I inject emotions, warmth and trust, just like when we were children and we were hiding from the rain together. Bowen guided from the side, showing his mentor style. Yes, integrate new abilities. From recovery to expansion, the group influence mode of tail swaying. It is not a single control, but affects the surrounding souls, letting the message of peace spread like ripples. Focus, young man. Qingyu closed his eyes, feeling the heat pouring into Li Jing's palm, and Zihan's tail lightly touched his leg, swaying playfully but firmly to assist. The inner shadows dispersed like clouds, from the quagmire of self-blame, to now, he understands that responsibility is not a burden, but a source of strength. He growled, come on, resonance. The mind is restarted and a new mode is unlocked. The group influence spreads like an invisible net. The tail of the assassin leopard shadow froze, and the tails of the affected little forest spirits, rabbit spirits, bird spirits, swayed, and the arc of peace bloomed like fireworks. The leopard shadow wailed, the red mist evaporated, and the figure disintegrated into black smoke. No! Master Qinghao. The chase was reversed, the forest returned to tranquility, Qingyu's shoulder no longer hurt, and the golden finger was as smooth as an upgrade. Successful. Zihan jumped on his shoulders, swung his tail in a celebratory circle, and received new information. Boy, this model is awesome. The information said that Qinghao's assassin failed, and he became even more anxious. On the edge of reality, the convoy has reached the suburbs of the city, and there are signs of war. They plan to raid the Li family headquarters tonight and force you to sign an unequal treaty. The aftermath of the dream's loss of control has shaken the neutral forces, but Qinghao has blocked some connections with red mist, so that the message of peace can reach his men's hearts. Qingyu gasped and stood firm, feeling like he was reborn. The self-blame just now made him change from a boy to a man. The responsibility is overwhelming, but he no longer flinches. Bowen, thank you for your guidance. This new model. I understand, it is not brute force, but the spread of wisdom. Jinger, Zihan, you are my backing. Li Jing hugged his arm and smiled, of course. Emotional support is my specialty. Look at you now, your eyes are bright, like a wise warrior. Come, plan a strategy. First use group influence to infiltrate Qinghao's convoy to make his men hesitate. Then, Bowen, you teach us the details of the treaty ceremony, and we go straight to the Tree of Souls. Bowen nodded, his silver hair flickering, and deepened his role as a mentor. Okay, your vision is correct. Strategy 1. Expand the peace wave and lock in the neutral pet souls on the edge of reality, stray cats and dogs in the city. Their tails can be used as spies, sending messages to the convoy. Strategy 2. Qinghao's obstacles will rise. level, he may go into sleep to counterattack in person, but your new pattern can reverse it. Remember, a treaty requires the intentions of 3 parties: the Li family, the Qin family, and the guardian of the dream. The ceremony is in the Tree of Souls, and the heart of the tree will amplify the resonance. When signing, Qinhao's guilt will become the key. Recovery complete, let's take action. The wind blows in the woods and the dream fades away. When they woke up, it was dusk and the city skyline was stained with blood red. The news loudly announced, the fringe convoy has gathered abnormally, and the police suspect terrorist activities. Tensions between the Li and Qin families have escalated, and war is about to break out. A call came from my uncle, Qingyu. Qinhao's men have surrounded the headquarters, full of weapons. Come on, uncle, I can't stand it. Qingyu held the phone tightly, his eyes as firm as steel. Uncle, hold on. I have a way. He looked at Li Jing in the shadow of Zihan's tail in his mind. Team, take action. Expand the spread and start reversing tonight. His inner growth was like a seed sprouting. He was no longer a self-blaming young man, but a wise warrior. Strategies were taking shape in his mind, and a web of peace was quietly being woven. Outside the window, the city lights lit up, and faint shouts came from the distance, but this time, he was ready. Qingyu hung up his uncle's call. The phone screen still showed his uncle's wrinkled face. In the background was the iron gate of the Li family headquarters. The roar of the motorcade's engine and the low curses of his men could be heard faintly. The lights of the city outside the window flickered like a mess, and the shouts in the distance were getting closer and closer, rushing towards the headquarters like a tide. He took a deep breath and turned to look at Li Jing. She had grabbed her coat, with that familiar firmness shining in her eyes. Jinger, my uncle said that Qinhao's men surrounded the headquarters, and the weapons convoy was like an iron barrel. The news said that the police were mobilizing, but it was too late. We have to stabilize reality first, and then fight back in a dream. Li Jing nodded, grabbed the car keys, and brought 2 bowls of hot beef noodles from the kitchen. The aroma of the soup immediately hit her nostrils, mixed with the crispness of chopped green onions. Eat, heroes can't go hungry. I just sensed Zihan's tail signal. It's saying, boy, don't rush to be cannon fodder. Use group influence to disintegrate the convoy first. Let's drive to the edge of the headquarters and spread the peace wave from there. Don't let Uncle and the others open fire first. She handed over the bowl and the 2 of them devoured the noodles. The chewy texture of the noodles made Qingyu's mind clearer. An inner monologue flashed through. In the past, I always went into battle impulsively, but now I have learned strategies. This is a gift given to me by the team. They rushed out of the apartment. The night air was cool and mixed with the salty smell of the harbor and the distant wailing of police sirens. Li Jing drove. Qingyu closed his eyes and concentrated, and his golden fingers spread out like an invisible net, extending to the stray pets on the edge of the city, the wild cats and dogs on the streets, and their tails became invisible spies. Ideas are injected into the group influence model, and the arc of peace spreads like ripples. Imagine friendship like meat slices in hot soup, seeping warmly into people's hearts. In the convoy, a strong man from the Qin family suddenly froze, loosened the iron pipe in his hand, and murmured, "Brothers, this battle suddenly feels boring. Why do we have to fight?" Several subordinates hesitated, the formation of the convoy loosened, and the shouts outside the headquarters weakened. A message from my uncle came. "Qingyu? What did you do?" They took half a step back, and the opportunity for negotiation is here. Come here quickly. The small victory made Qingyu's heart heat up, but he did not relax. Jinger, this is just to stop the bleeding. The core of Qinhao's conspiracy is in the dream stronghold, the source of the red mist of the fortress, which must be destroyed before it can be eradicated. Go home and dream, and go straight there. Li Jing stepped on the accelerator, and the car rushed into the night like an arrow. Okay. When friendship sublimates, we are invincible. I remember when I was a child, you protected me from the neighbor's dog, and now it's my turn to pull you through. In the apartment, they lay side by side, their thoughts gliding into dreams like 2 people. The mist dispersed, and they landed in the red mist jungle outside the fortress. The trees were twisted like iron claws, the air was sticky like hot oil, the smell of sulfur was pungent, and a low roar could be heard faintly around them. Zihan sprang out, his tail swaying in a rapid alert rhythm, and his furry body still carried the green light of the recovery leaves. "Boys, welcome to Qinghao's back garden. The core of the stronghold is deep in the jungle, and the heart of the red mist is the pump of conspiracy. If the pump is destroyed, the real fleet will be paralyzed. But be careful, the ultimate guardian beast is guarding there, and Qinghao personally instills the red mist guy." Bowen's voice rang out from his mind, like an elder whispering, "Young people, I will guard you from a distance. Let me tell you the details of the ceremony first. The treaty must be signed in front of the Tree of Souls, and the three parties must be united. The Li family represents Qingyu, and the Qin family needs Qinghao personally. The dream will be hosted by me. The heart of the tree will amplify the tail resonance, but the premise is to purify the stronghold and collect red mist fragments as keys. Go ahead, the strategy is to infiltrate rather than forcefully break in." They sneaked into the jungle, their steps were as light as cats, the leaves rustled, and the red mist wrapped around their ankles like a living thing. Qingyu took the lead, exploring the path with his mind, controlling the tails of several neutral insect spirits to draw invisible paths. Li Jing whispered, "Your leadership is becoming more and more stable, like that of my uncle, but more heartwarming." Zihan playfully flicked his tail. "Hey, don't be stupid, the information is here. The guardian beast is a nine-tailed flame dragon, its tail can breathe fire, and its weakness is hidden in the core of the red mist. The depths are wide open, and an altar emerges. The heart of red mist in the center pulses like a heart and emits a low hum. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and the nine-tailed flame dragon sprang out. The giant beast's body was like lava, and its 9 tails were swinging like fire whips. The air was instantly scorching, mixed with the smell of coke. The dragon's eyes were red and roared, "Intruder! Master Qinhao's will, burn everything!" The tail swept forward, and the fire wave was like a tsunami. Qingyu pushed Li Jing away, and the three of them rolled to the ground. The heat wave burned the skin, and the pain was like a needle prick. Qingyu gritted his teeth and stood up, his golden fingers exploded, trying to control the 9 tails through group resonance. "Come on, peace arc." But the dragon tail was too strong, and the red mist backfired like electricity flowing through the body. His mind was broken, his brain felt like it was on fire, and his vision was blood red. The dragon's claw pounced on him, but he couldn't dodge. His chest was cut open, blood spurted out, and the pain made him kneel down. Despair surged in his heart. "It's over, I'm really going to die this time. I used to think that the team was invincible, but I underestimated the desperate situation. If I don't have enough strength and my strategy is wrong, how can I be worthy of being a leader?" Li Jing rushed forward and hugged him, with tears in her eyes but a firm voice. "Qingyu. Hold on. My intuition. The emotion of this dragon's tail is violent, but 3 of the 9 tails are swaying unevenly, as if they are hiding unwillingness. They are guardian spirits who are forced to be loyal, and are controlled by Qinhao's red mist. The weakness is in the third at the end, the arc there is hesitation, inject friendship and it can be reversed." Zihan jumped on the dragon's back, swung out a golden arc from his tail to assist, and said playfully but decisively, "Boy, listen to Jinger. Using my tail as a bridge, I sacrifice my strength to connect to your thoughts. Teamwork is not addition, it is multiplication." Qingyu's vision was blurred, and the smell of blood spread in his mouth, but he held Li Jing's hand tightly. Friendship was injected like heat, and Zihan's assistance restarted his mind. Inner transformation is like the rebirth of a phoenix. Desperate situations are not the end, but a test. I changed from arrogance to tenacity, and started from tolerance, not only defeating enemies, but also redeeming them. He roared, "Jinger, inject emotions that are unwilling to transform. Xian, connect." The group resonance upgraded, and the 3 people's thoughts intertwined, locking the third tail. The dragon's tail trembled, the fire waves weakened, the peaceful ripples spread like blue light, and the 3 tails softened, swaying in a rebellious arc. "Master, this feeling." The dragon murmured, and the three tails reversed, sprang out blue flames to extinguish the red mist, and the other tails followed hesitantly. Some of the guardians defected, the flame dragon's body split open, and the heart of the red mist was exposed. Qingyu stood up, the wound on his chest healed in his dream, and he laughed. It's done. It's not about conquering, it's about awakening. Li Jing wiped away her tears and hugged him tightly. You scared me to death. But look, you are like a tolerant leader now. You no longer just want to win, but also want to save people. Zihan rubbed his legs and waggled his tail weakly. Hey, the friendship has sublimated, it's worth it. Intelligence, the defecting tail said that Qinhao's position was shaken, and the peaceful phantom of his grandfather flashed in his mind. The voice of the blog sounded, well done. Additional details of the ceremony. Qinhao needs to be present in front of the tree, and his guilt is the key. You have purified the stronghold and obtained the red mist fragment. Use it to open the tree door, but be careful, an original twist is here. Suddenly, the altar twisted, and a figure emerged, Qinhao's deputy, a sinister middle-aged man, whose tail swayed in the projection to create a spiral of betrayal. Boss Qinhao, you are too weak. This stronghold purification has exposed my big conspiracy. It is not family grudges, it is the black market bosses who control everything. They used red mist medicine to control Qinhao and me, with the goal of total war in the city and monopolizing the resources of the dream. I originally wanted to push Qinhao out and set up my own business, but your peaceful wave shook me. The deputy's exposure was like a bomb. Qingyu was stunned. Bigger conspiracy? Black market boss? Qinhao is being used. The deputy sneered. Yes, he thought he was revenge, but he was actually a chess piece. Your resonance allowed me to see clearly that the war ruined everything. I switched sides and gave you information. Qinhao will come to the headquarters to negotiate in person tonight, but the black market will assassinate him and blame the Li family. Only by stopping it can peace have a chance. Qinhao's projection flashed for a moment, and his eyes were complicated. Boy, maybe you were right. He faded away after his position began to waver. The purification of the stronghold is completed, the red mist evaporates, the jungle becomes green again, and the fragrance of flowers fills the nostrils. Qingyu helped Zihan up and looked at Li Jing. Thank you. This turning point made me understand tolerance is not weakness, but seeing the gray clearly. The black market gangster is a new enemy, but we have a team and a changed Qinhao. Return to reality, save his uncle, and intercept the assassination. Li Jing nodded, friendship swaying like a tail. Together, we will never be alone. The dream faded, and blue light fragments flashed in his mind, indicating that the climax was coming. Qingyu's consciousness fell from the blue light of the dream like a kite with a broken string, and he opened his eyes suddenly. The ceiling fan in the apartment was still squeaking. It was dark outside the window. The city lights were flickering like a mess. There were vague sirens and shouts in the distance, like a prelude to war. He sat up, the burning feeling from the purification of the stronghold still lingering in his chest. The blue light from the red mist fragments had integrated into his golden fingers. He felt like a warm current swimming through his meridians, but exhaustion came like a tide. The twist just now was so shocking. The black market boss controlled everything, and Qinhao was actually a pawn, which made his mind buzz. Qingyu. Wake up. Li Jing's voice sounded from the side. She had just recovered from her dream, her long hair was messy, and her eyes were shining with anxiety. She grabbed her phone, and a message from her uncle flashed across the screen. Boy, Qinhao has personally led the team here. The iron gate of the headquarters can no longer hold up, and weapons are flying everywhere. The police are on the way, but they are too late. Li Jing handed over a cup of hot tea, which was fragrant and mixed with a faint jasmine smell. Drink, keep calm. I sensed Xian's tail signal. It said that Qinhao was shaken, but the assassins from the black market have sneaked into the edge of the headquarters. We must hurry up and keep the influence of the fragment, otherwise peace will be destroyed. Qingyu drank the tea in one gulp, and the heat flowed down his throat, dispelling some of the chill. He nodded, and a sense of determination surged in his heart. Jinger, let's go. Uncle and the others can't wait in vain. This time is not a small fight, but a full-scale attack. We must seize the beginning of Chen Hao's transformation. They rushed out. The night breeze was cool, mixed with the salty smell of the harbor and the pungent smell of gunpowder in the distance. Li Jing drove like flying. Qingyu closed his eyes and concentrated, extending his golden fingers to the tails of stray pets around the headquarters, trying to spread peace. But the aftermath of Chen Hao's red mist was too strong, and his thoughts bounced back like hitting an iron wall, causing a stabbing pain in his brain. Outside the headquarters is already a battlefield. In front of the iron gate, Chen Hao's tall and thin figure stood in the center of the convoy, his face as gloomy as before a storm. His men waved iron pipes and firearms, shouting loudly, "Li family, hand over control of the warehouse. Otherwise there will be a bloodbath tonight." The uncle led the strong men of the Li family behind the door. Gunshots rang out sporadically, and the scream of bullets grazing the air made people's hearts beat faster. Smoke and dust flew everywhere, sparks flew from the ground, and the air was filled with the mixed smell of burnt rubber and blood. Qingyu and Li Jing sneaked in from the side alley and hid behind the container. His uncle caught a glimpse of them and shouted, "Qingyu! What are you doing here? Take Jinger away quickly, this is not a child's play." "Uncle, listen to me!" Qingyu shouted. His mind exploded, and he controlled the tail of a nearby wild dog to wave in a hesitant arc. Several Chen family men were stunned, the iron pipe hung down, and they murmured, "Boss, this feels like a foxtail pulling me in a dream. Why do you suddenly don't want to fight?" A small-scale chaos broke out, and the formation of the convoy was loose. But Chen Hao sneered, waved his hand, and the red mist like smoke bomb exploded, and the smoke spread like a living thing, covering the sky and the sun. "Boy, I've seen through your trick. Those guys in the black market want to take advantage of me? Humph, let's deal with the Li family first, and then..." His eyes locked on Qingyu, and the invasion of dreams came like a tide. Reality and dreams collapsed simultaneously. Qingyu's vision was distorted, and the ground beneath his feet shook like ripples. There was a buzz in Qingyu's head, and his consciousness was pulled into the void of half-dream and half-awake. Surrounded by the twisted phantom of the family's old site, the ruins of an ancient dream war, among the ruins, red mist twines like blood. Chen Hao's projection appeared, his tail phantom swaying in a complex spiral, and his tall and thin body approached like a ghost. "Li Qingyu, do you think Goldfinger is invincible? Come and see the truth." He waved his hand, and the phantom played like a movie. In ancient times, the ancestors of the Li family and the grandfather of the Chen family stood side by side to sign a peace treaty to resolve the dream war. The symbol of the wagging tail flashes, and peace shines like golden light. However, the shadow of a black market boss infiltrated, forged evidence, framed the Li family for greed for resources, and caused the death of the Chen family. Chen Hao's voice trembled. "I have been seeking revenge for half my life. It turned out to be a chess game in the black market. The Li family is not a traitor, but a victim. But the blood debt can no longer be repaid. When I was a child, I saw my father lying in a pool of blood. The hatred was like red mist, swallowing up everything." Qingyu's heart felt like being hit by a giant hammer, and collapse came like a tide. He knelt down, his uncle's cold face, the pressure on the family, and the evil deeds of the Chen family he had heard about since childhood all flashed through his mind. The shackles of hatred shattered, replaced by the pain of understanding. "Chen Hao, you and I are both victims? Why didn't you say it earlier? How many people have been ruined by this cycle?" Tears fell, and the inner monologue was like a storm. "I used to regard you as an enemy, and my hatred was like fire. Now, I understand the weight of forgiveness. This growth is not an easy victory, but a rebirth after heartbreak. Forgiveness is not forgetting, but choosing reconciliation for the sake of the city and future generations." In reality, Qingyu's body collapsed, and Li Jing rushed forward to hug him, her voice urgent, "Qingyu, wake up. My intuition." Chen Hao's emotions are wavering, and his tail phantom hides guilt, trembling like a broken wind pincer. The assassin in the black market has already. The iron gate of the headquarters is about to break. The uncle shouted, "Jinger, protect him." That old fox Chen Hao took the lead in the charge. The gunfire was intensive, and a black shadow flashed in the smoke. A black market assassin, wearing a mask and holding a dagger, was aiming at Chen Hao. In the dream, Chen Hao's projection hesitated, and his tail swayed with the first softening arc. Boy, maybe your golden finger is not a curse, but a key. My transformation starts from this moment. But the black market will not let us go. His words were like a bridge. Qingyu stood up, and his heart changed from collapse to determination. Chen Hao, let's end this cycle together. Forgiveness is not a weakness, but a strength. Reality synchronized, Qingyu opened his eyes and held Li Jing's hand. Jinger, your intuition saved me. Let's fight back together. Li Jing nodded, her intuition golden fingers scanning like a radar. The emotions of black market assassins are greed, but Chen Hao's guilt can backfire on them. Qingyu, use your mind to connect with me. The uncle roared, boys, do it. I'm holding the door. The crisis escalated, and the black market assassin broke through the smoke, his dagger flashing with cold light, and went straight for Chen Hao. Chen Hao dodged sideways, but was tripped by the iron pipe. His men opened fire in confusion, bullets flying randomly, and heat waves hit his face. Qingyu's golden finger was on the verge of overload, but Li Jing's intuition injected like warmth, stabilizing his thoughts. Suddenly, Zihan's phantom emerged from the grass, and an original twist broke out. The little fox's body was bathed in blue light fragments and evolved into a silver fox form. The tail grew 3 lengths, swaying into brilliant gold and silver arcs. The furry body shone with aura, and a playful voice rang in his head. Hey, boy! Restore the fragments of Yijia, I have upgraded. Ultimate intelligence, the black market boss's weakness is at the source of the red mist. Their tail controller is hidden in Chen Hao's belt. If you smash it, you can reverse the whole situation. Zihan's evolution is like a fantasy firework, with his tail throwing out a wave of information. Qingyu's golden finger is instantly upgraded. It is no longer a single control, but a reconciliation network that can control large-scale tails at the same time and incorporate the emotion of forgiveness. Qingyu laughed. Zihan, you fox king. Jinger, Bowen, did you hear it? Bowen's voice sounded remotely. You heard it, young people. The mass resonance is activated. Chen Hao, join us. Qingyu's thoughts exploded, and the net of reconciliation spread out like an invisible giant net, connecting the souls of all pets around the headquarters, wild dogs, stray cats, and even the tails of Chen Hao's pet dogs. The tails of the entire audience swayed in a unified arc of peace, and golden and silver light swept across like ocean waves. The black market assassin was stunned, his dagger lowered, and the peaceful phantom of his ancestors flashed in his mind. Why do you suddenly feel guilty? Their tail controller was exposed. Chen Hao touched the belt, smashed it, the red mist evaporated, his men stopped one after another, the iron pipe fell to the ground, and murmured, Boss, peace, maybe you should try it. Chen Hao stood up, his eyes changed from gloomy to complicated and soft, and the phantom of his tail swayed faintly in reality. Boy, thank you. This change. I owe the Li family an apology. He shouted to his men, cease fire. The black market is the enemy. The uncle poked his head from behind the iron door and was stunned. Chen Hao, you. Li Jing's intuition came into play at the critical moment. She approached Chen Hao and whispered, your emotions are changing, and your guilt is like a spring breeze. Join us, sign the contract, and the black market will collapse. The large-scale conflict was resolved, the gunfire stopped, the smoke gradually dispersed, and the headquarters returned to tranquility in the night wind. The police arrived and blocked the black market assassin. His uncle stepped forward and patted Qingyu on the shoulder. Boy, you golden finger, uncle was wrong about you. Qingyu looked at Chen Hao, and his heart grew like a butterfly of transformation, from the flame of hatred to the warm sun of reconciliation. This transformation made him understand that forgiveness does not end the war, but opens up a new life. The crisis has been suspended, but the shadow of the black market boss is still there, and the treaty ceremony will be the final stand. He held Li Jing's hand tightly. Jinger, we won the first step. Zihan, thank you for your evolution. Chen Hao, will we go to the Tree of Souls together? Qinghao nodded, and the change began like a wagging tail. Let's go, boy. Peace starts tonight. In the night, their footsteps moved towards the unknown, and the lights of the city seemed to be a little brighter. The night wind blew away the smoke and dust outside the headquarters, and the iron door creaked open. His uncle patted Qingyu on the shoulder, and his rough palms were as hard as sandpaper. Boy, your hand, uncle, I am convinced. That old fox Qinghao, there is something wrong with his eyes. Qinghao stood next to the wreckage of the motorcade, his tall and thin body cast a long shadow under the street lamp. His men had put away the iron pipe, and the scattered tails of wild dogs were still swaying in the grass, and the aftermath of peace was faintly transmitted. Li Jing wiped the sweat from her forehead, leaned close to Qingyu, and whispered, his emotions, guilt came up like a tide. Qinghao stepped forward, his voice as hoarse as frost. Li Qingyu, your golden finger, made me see clearly the tricks of the black market. I thought revenge was justice, but I became their dog. Tree of Soul, I will go. But destroy my fortress first. The heart of red mist is a cancer implanted by the black market. Without it, the treaty will be stable. His eyes flickered, and the phantom of his tail trembled slightly in the night, like a kite struggling with its string broken. Qingyu nodded, feeling warm in his heart. This old fox has finally softened. Okay, let's fall asleep together. Uncle, stay true to reality. Don't mess around when the police come. The three of them, Qingyu, Li Jing, and Qinghao, returned to the apartment, while their uncle stayed behind at the headquarters. Lying on the bed, thoughts flowed into dreams like a tide. In the mist, they landed in the red mist jungle outside the fortress. The air is as sticky as hot oil, the smell of sulfur is pungent, the twisted trees claw at the sky like iron claws, a fortress stands in the distance, and the obsidian walls pulse with red light, beating like a living heart. Zihan's silver fox figure sprang out, with three tails swinging out golden and silver arcs, and twirling playfully. Hey, the old fox is here. Intelligence, the black market has strengthened the trap, and the heart of the red mist is guarding the ultimate beast. But with Qinghao here, the internal connection is loose. Go ahead. Qinhao's projected body was solid, and he frowned and stared at the fortress. This place. I built the cage with my own hands. Now, it seems to be laughing at me. Li Jing came closer and interpreted his tail phantom. Your emotions are jumping around, guilt and anger. Don't worry, we are a team. Qingyu took the lead, opened the net of reconciliation with his mind, and controlled the tail of the neutral soul beside the jungle to draw a path. Let's start the raid. Qinghao, you open the inner door, and we will disintegrate the guards. They sneak in, their footsteps are as light as cats, the leaves rustle, and the red mist wraps around their ankles like a living thing. The epic battle unfolds quickly. The first trap breaks out, the ground cracks, the red mist turns into vines and whips are drawn, the whips sound like thunder, and heat waves hit the face. Qingyu shouted, Jinger, left. Qinghao, cut off its roots. Qinghao growled, his thoughts struck like a hammer, and the vines broke, but the red mist bite back. He groaned, and the projection trembled. Damn, the poison of the black market is too deep. Li Jing's intuitive scan, the vine tail hides poison, and the mood is despair. Qingyu, wrap them in a net. Qingyu's golden fingers exploded, and the net of reconciliation was covered by a giant net. The tail swayed in a peaceful arc, the vines softened into ashes, and the jungle opened a bloody path. Going deeper into the inner hall of the fortress, the air becomes even hotter, the runes on the walls flicker like will-o'-the-wisps, and the heart of the red mist in the distance hums like a heartbeat. The guard army reappeared, and hundreds of soul beasts roared and rushed toward them. Wolf shadows, scorpion beasts, and flame dragon remnant spirits stepped on the ground with their claws and shook the floating island. The red mist surged, the cracks in the void were like broken glass, and the wind was mixed with sharp whistling. Qinghao rushed forward, his tail phantom threw a red arc to counterattack. Come on, you monsters. But the second wave of traps came, the ground turned into a lava pool, heat waves rolled like a sea of fire, lava bubbles burst, and the smell of coke filled your nose. Li Jing slipped and fell into the pool. Qingyu. The turning point came suddenly. Qingyu's heart was as sharp as a knife. She instinctively jumped out, Her golden fingers were overloaded, and all the net of reconciliation was injected into her body, turning into a blue light shield. He felt like his mind was being torn apart, and some of his abilities were lost like disconnections. The range of control was reduced, the pain in his brain was like an electric shock, and his vision was blood red. Jinger! Hold on to me. He took her hand and the two of them rolled onto the edge. The lava splashed up and burned his arm, causing pain like fire. But Li Jing was safe. She gasped and hugged him tightly. Qingyu, are you stupid? Why did you sacrifice so much? Qingyu gritted his teeth, and his inner monologue was like a warm current. I always protected myself in the past, but now, for her and the team, I am willing to cut off my arms. This selflessness is not a heroic drama, it is true protection. Qinhao was stunned and turned to look at him with complicated eyes. Boy! You golden finger should have been invincible, but you cut off her roots. The black market made me selfish, but you. The phantom of his tail swayed in an arc of hesitation, and his guilt widened like a crack. Zihan jumped on Qingyu's shoulder, caressing his injury with his tail. Boy, the power will come back, but this effort is worth it. Information, the lava tail is weak. Qinhao, help me. Qinhao nodded and joined in with a low roar. Although the net of reconciliation was weak, it was pure and selfless. The three of them worked together, and the ripples of the tail swept across like a tsunami. The army collapsed, the remaining spirits dispersed, and the inner hall opened. The heart of the red mist is exposed, pulsing like the heart of a giant beast, and the ultimate guardian beast appears around it, a shadow demon injected by the black market, shaped like a nine-headed giant snake, with its tail dancing like a poisonous whip. The red mist sprays thin, the air twists into a vortex, and the smell of sulfur is like hell. Shadow demon roared, the black market will last forever. Qinhao, traitor, die! His tail swept, the void tore apart, and the hot wind was like a knife. Qingyu's thoughts were weak, but the team's tacit understanding broke out. Li Jing injected emotion. Qingyu, your selflessness makes the network stronger. Qinhao, look at your tail, it's calling you to change. Zihan's three tails flicked out gold and silver light, assisting in conveying, the ultimate intention is here. The second turning point broke out. Qingyu ignored the pain, and the remaining thoughts guided all the tails, not only the guard's residual tail, the shadow demon's 9 tails, and even Qinhao's phantom tail, all connected into a big net. The ultimate intention is conveyed like a tidal wave. Peace is not a force, but a bridge to forgiveness. The tail swayed in an epic arc, gold, silver, and blue light intertwined, lighting up the inner hall like fireworks. The shadow demon whined, 9 tails stiffened, and the red mist evaporated. No! Black market's order. It disintegrated into black smoke, the heart of the red mist cracked, and the fragments scattered. Qinhao knelt down, the projection trembled, and his inner monologue echoed in his mind like a storm. This boy sacrificed his ability to save a woman, what about me? Revenge for half a lifetime, destroyed the family, destroyed the city. Grandfather's peace symbol flashed again. The wagging tail is not a mockery, but a call. The black market took advantage of me and I became a monster. Change, perhaps starts with forgiving the Li family. Guilt cut through the red mist like a knife, and the phantom of his tail softened, swaying out the first arc of peace. Boy, you win. My position collapsed. The black market is the real enemy, peace. I sign. As the emotional climax surged, Li Jing hugged Qingyu with tears in her eyes. You idiot, you are so selfless that it makes people feel sad. But look, Qinhao has changed. Zihan rushed to Qinhao's feet, touched lightly with her tail, and delivered the key evidence, the black market boss's red mist blueprint, which emerged from the fragments. Old fox, the evidence proves that you were deceived. Sign a temporary ceremony to cut off the roots of the black market. Bowen's figure emerged from the void, with silver hair like a waterfall and flowing robes. He presided over a temporary ceremony, holding a fragment of red mist. He summoned the shadow of the Tree of Souls. The branches swayed like tails, and golden light surrounded the 4 people. Qinhao, hearts and minds are united. Your guilt is the key. Qinhao stretched out his hand, the arc of his tail merged with Qingyu's network, blue light burst out, the temporary treaty symbol took shape, the red mist was completely cleared, the fortress was on the verge of collapse, and the void was stable. Qinhao stood up, his eyes changed from collapse to determination, and the edge of surrender appeared like the dawn of dawn. Boy, this temporary ceremony stabilized the black market. But in the end, I went all in front of the tree. Your selflessness made me see myself clearly. Qingyu supported Li Jing, the wound healed in the light, and his heart grew like a mature fruit, from an impulsive boy, to a selfless guardian, to a peacemaker. This journey is painful but worth it. The red mist dissipated, the wind rose in the inner hall, the call of the soul tree faintly sounded, and they moved towards the final fight. The wind in the inner hall swept across the ruins like an invisible tail, and the embers of the red mist turned into fine stardust in the blue light and drifted into the void. Qingyu helped Li Jing stand firm. The scar on his chest had faded into a shallow red line. Zihan's silver fox figure was scurrying around his feet, and his three tails were throwing out excited silver arcs, as if celebrating a belated fireworks show. Qinhao's projection was still trembling slightly. He rubbed his temples, and his tall and thin face looked a bit older under the golden light. Boy, this place. I thought it would always be a prison, but now it is like the door of an old house, which disintegrates when opened. Bowen, the voice emerged from the shadow of the tree, like an elder whispering, "Young people, the heart of the red mist is purified, and the foundation of the black market is shaken. But the call of the tree of soul is approaching, and the ritual hall is at the end of the void. Qinhao, follow up, your transformation is the key." Qingyu nodded, his heart felt like slices of meat in hot soup, and the pain just now was glued together with warmth. He stretched out his hand and took Qinhao's projected arm. The touch was intertwined with reality, like holding a warm mist. "Old fox, don't be in a daze. From hatred to this point, is it tiring enough? Let's go and sign that damn treaty together. The city is still waiting for us." Qinhao was stunned. He was stunned, and then chuckled, his voice hoarse but with relief. "Boy, your golden finger not only controls the tail, but also pulls people onto the boat. Okay, let's go with you." But the remnants of the black market will not give up. Their red mist is like dogskin plaster, sticky. Li Jing came close to Qingyu, her long hair fluttering in the wind. She poked his waist, playfully and worriedly. "Hero, you just cut off the roots for me, now don't be brave. Zihan, explore the way." The little silver fox rushed forward, the three tails swayed out of the invisible path, and playfully turned back. "Hey, Jinger, don't worry. My tail has been upgraded. The information says that the door of the ceremony hall is at the end of the Stardust Tunnel. The air there is as sweet as candied haws, but be careful of slippery feet." As they stepped forward, the void rippled like water waves, and the floating islands bumped gently under their feet. The air gradually became fresher, mixed with the scent of wild flowers and earth after the rain. Qinhao walked beside him, occasionally asking Qingyu family old stories in a low voice. "The ancestors of the Li family, are you really not a traitor?" Qingyu shook his head, and his inner monologue was like a warm breeze blowing. "This old guy, from enemy to ally, friendship has been sublimated like milk tea with sugar, sweet but astringent." At the end of the tunnel, the ceremony hall emerged like a giant lotus. Its petals were woven with silver light, and the tree of souls in the center stood tall. The trunk was as thick as an ancient bell, and its branches and leaves slowly swayed like countless tails. The golden and blue light pulsated, and the air was filled with the mixed smell of lavender and sea breeze, making people's minds buzzing, like listening to an ancient lullaby. The altar in the heart of the tree is as smooth as a mirror, engraved with peace runes, and slightly warm. Bowen's figure is solid, his silver hair is like a waterfall, his robe is fluttering, and he comes with a smile. "Welcome, children. This is the core of the dreamland, and the treaty will be signed here." The three parties are united. Qingyu represents the Li family, Qinhao represents the Qin family, and I guard the dreamland. Get ready, the tail wagging ceremony is about to begin. Qinhao took a deep breath and stepped onto the altar, his tail phantom raised high, swaying in a hesitant arc. "I are ready. Boy, thank you for helping me." From a chess piece in the black market to now, I feel like a human being. Qingyu patted his shoulder and smiled easily. Old fox, don't be so stupid. After signing the contract, we went back to have a cup of hot tea and chat about family history. Jinger, Zihan, you are in position, interpret the tale and stabilize the emotional wave. Li Jing nodded, closing her eyes, her intuition stretched like a thread, holding Zihan's silver tail. Little fox, let's join forces. The mood of the tale of the branches, so chaotic, like the clouds before the storm. The ceremony started. Bowen waved his hand, the golden light bloomed in the heart of the tree, and the runes lit up like fireworks. Qingyu stretched out his thoughts, and the net of reconciliation spread out, connecting the branches and tails, and drawing a great arc of peace. Qinhao followed, his guilt poured into him like a warm current, the afterimage of the red mist began to evaporate, and everything went smoothly. But just as the arc is about to be completed, a sudden turning point occurs, a black seam opens in the void, and the remaining hostile forces counterattack. The ultimate soul army of the remnants of the black market sprang out. Dozens of shadow demon remnants were like black clouds, their tails whipping the air like poisonous hooks, making explosions like firecrackers. The red mist surged, the ceremony hall trembled, lotus petals shattered, and heat waves mixed with sour poisonous gas hit the face. The leader was a giant shadow king, with 9 heads roaring. The black market will not be destroyed. Qinhao, traitor, die! The Shadow King's tail swept, the void was torn, the golden light shield collapsed on the edge, Qingyu was thrown away and hit the trunk of the tree, his chest felt like being hit by a hammer, and pain spread throughout his body. Qingyu! Li Jing screamed. Zihan ran up the Shadow King's back, and counterattacked with his silver tail throwing a golden arc, but the legion came like a tide. The shadows of his claws were like a net, and the red mist swallowed the light veins. Qinhao growled, and the projection rushed to block the wave. Boy, back off. This is the debt I owe. But he was entangled by the poisonous tail, the arc of guilt broke, and the red mist backfired and made him kneel down, his face pale. Damn, the poison of the black market is still in his bones. Qingyu got up, his mind buzzing, panic in his heart like wildfire. The final test has come, the net of reconciliation has weakened, Jinger and the others are in danger. From the selfless eradication to now, I thought I was invincible, but I was facing collapse. If we fail, the treaty is ruined, and the city becomes a river of blood. No, we cannot retreat. This is a heroic moment, not an escape, but a fearless charge. Qingyu gritted his teeth and stood up straight, his eyes changing from hesitant to steely determination. He shouted, Qinhao, hold on. This is not your debt, it is ours. His thoughts exploded like a strong wind, and all the remaining power was poured out. Although the net of reconciliation was broken, it was fearless and pure, turning into a blue and silver light pillar, piercing the core of the Shadow King. The Shadow Spirit army rushed towards him, and their claws scratched his arm. Blood spurted out and the pain was like fire, but he did not retreat. His inner monologue was like a war drum. Growth is not painless, it is about facing fear and protecting your partners. Fearlessness does not mean not being afraid of death, it means risking yourself for peace. The beam of light spread, Legion was stunned, its tail stiffened, and the red mist began to recede. The Shadow King whined, no! The black market's order. But Qingyu's fearlessness was like ripples, disintegrating half of the Legion. Their tails wavered in hesitation, and they turned and fled. The second turning point breaks out, Li Jing and Zihan work together to interpret it. Li Jing closed her eyes and intuitively scanned the whole place with her golden finger like a radar. Qingyu, listen to me. The mood of the tail of the branches panic, but there is a turning point underneath. The tail of the black market ghost is full of forced emptiness, like a lonely soul kidnapped by the red mist. Zihan, join hands. The little silver fox jumped onto her shoulder, and the 3 tails blended with her hand. Silver light Ruqiao, hey, Jinger, read it. Intelligence, the Shadow King's core tail hides the weakness of the black market boss, and his emotions are greed and guilt, which can be broken with one poke. Their interpretations poured into Qingyu's mind like a tide, and the tale's emotional map was clear. Underneath the rage of the Legion, there was the sadness of being manipulated. Qinghao's guilt could be used as a key. Qingyu laughed, with the momentum of a fearless hero overwhelming. Thank you, Jinger. Zihan, you are my eyes. He manipulated the connection with reality, and the web of reconciliation extended out of the dream, touching the tale of pets around the city: wild cats, stray dogs, and even pet dogs owned by the black market, all swaying a wave of unity and peace. In reality, outside the uncle's headquarters, the convoy of black market remnants was suddenly in chaos. His men dropped their weapons and murmured, "This feels like the tale pulling in a dream. Why do you suddenly not want to destroy it?" The conspiracy completely collapsed, the core of the Shadow King exploded, the red mist dissipated like fireworks, and the Legion disintegrated into light dust. Bowen imparted the final wisdom in time. He floated up to the altar, his silver hair fluttering, and his voice sounded like a bell. Qingyu, you have gone from an impulsive boy, to a selfless protector, to a fearless hero. This transformation is like the ultimate sway of the tale, not conquest, but tolerance. Remember, the core of peace is connection, not severance. Qinghao, your guilt has been purified. Join us. Right. Qinghao stood up, his tail phantom completely softened, swaying out of a pure arc of peace. Boy. Elder Bowen, thank you. My transformation was not overnight, it was the rope you pulled. The black market ruined my path to revenge. Now, I choose to be a new student. He stretched out his hand, and the hearts of the three parties merged. Golden and blue light surrounded the altar like waves, and the runes were all bright. An original twist is coming, the dream world gives back power to the protagonist. The branches and leaves of the soul swayed in unison, like countless tails cheering, and the heart of the tree sprayed out a silver blue light pillar and injected it into Qingyu's body. His golden finger sublimated, and the severed part was reborn, becoming more powerful, not only controlling the tail, but also sensing the emotions of people, as sharp as Li Jing's intuition. Strength surged like a warm current, and all wounds healed. Qingyu felt like he was reborn, and his inner transformation was comprehensive. From a lonely sleepwalker to a guardian connecting all things, this world is no longer a battlefield, but a home. Li Jing hugged him, smiling through tears. Qingyu, you hero, scared me to death. But look, the friendship has been sublimated, and our tales are always connected. Zihan rubbed his leg, and Yinwei made a funny circle. Hey, boy, power feedback? Treat me to a whole chicken next time to celebrate. Qinghao chuckled and patted Qingyu on the shoulder. I owe you a drink. Let's sign it. The reconciliation begins here. Bowen smiled, the treaty is about to be signed. The heat wave surges in the heart of the tree altar, the runes gather like stars, and the peaceful arc of the tale is about to seal eternity. Qingyu held his partner's hand tightly, feeling like spring buds breaking through the ground in his heart, and the joy of comprehensive transformation made the void light up. The heat wave of the tree heart altar surged up like a gentle embrace, the runes and stars gathered into a dazzling arch, and the golden and blue light pillars shot straight to the top of the void, illuminating the entire ceremony hall. Qingyu stood in the center, holding his partner's palms slightly sweaty, but full of solid warmth. The branches and leaves of the tree of souls sway in unison, like countless tales singing an ancient peace hymn. The scent of lavender in the air is mixed with the freshness of the sea breeze, making people's minds buzzing, as if the entire dream world is holding their breath for this moment. Elder Bowen floated beside the altar, his silver hair falling like moonlight. He smiled slightly. Children, the time has come for hearts and minds to unite. Qingyu, you will preside over. Let your tales sway and convey the message of eternal peace. Qingyu took a deep breath, his thoughts fell like a drizzle, and the net of reconciliation was fully unfolded. This sublimated golden finger is no longer a simple control, but resonates with all things like a heartbeat. He closed his eyes, and the neon lights of the city, family grudges, and smoke and dust at the port flashed through his mind, all replaying like a revolving lantern. From the ordinary college student who pushed open the door of the convenience store to now standing in front of the tree, he felt like a sapling that finally grew into a towering tree after going through wind and rain. Come on, let's all shake our tails together. he whispered, his voice as steady as a rock. The branches were the first to respond, with countless tail-like veins swaying slowly, drawing golden arcs of peace, from slow circles to rapid ripples, symbolizing reconciliation spreading like ripples. Qinghao stood next to him, his tall and thin figure elongated in the light. He stretched out his hand, and the phantom of his tail completely softened, injecting his own guilt. Boy, here I come. This transformation is like taking off a layer of old skin, making it much easier. His arc merged with Qingyu's net, and the afterimage of the red mist completely evaporated, turning into blue light and blending into the heart of the tree. Zihan's silver tail flicked out playful gold and silver circles to assist in the transmission, and Li Jing's intuition stabilized the emotional waves like a bridge. Qingyu, your thoughts are warm, like hot milk tea. Qinhao's emotions have stabilized, let's push together. The climax of the ceremony broke out, and messages of peace poured out of the heart of the tree like a tide. The cracks in the void healed instantly. The last remaining spirit of the red mist legion turned into light dust in the light waves. The rhythm of the swaying tail spread throughout the dream world and even penetrated into reality. Qingyu felt that his thoughts extended to every corner of the city. The tails of wild cats on the streets twitched, stray dogs swayed with joy, and the hidden strongholds of black market remnants collapsed like dominoes. Qinhao's eyes widened and his voice trembled. This, all my men have stopped. The red mist of the black market has been cut off. He officially changed his position and held Qingyu's hand. Li Qingyu, from now on, the Qin family and the Li family join forces. Sign the treaty, and eternal peace starts from here. Bowen nodded, the elder waved his hand, and a crystal stone tablet of treaty emerged from the heart of the tree. The runes were engraved like movable type. The Li and Qin families have reconciled for generations. The dream connection protects the city, and there is no oath of war. Qinghao was the first to write. His fingertips touched the stone, and his guilt turned into golden light and was injected. Qingyu followed, and his fearless thoughts were sealed like a seal. Li Jing and Zihan's tails touched lightly, injecting friendship and loyalty. The last stroke of the blog post, the guardian of dreams will last forever. The stone tablet hummed, a silver-blue halo erupted, the ceremony hall was as brilliant as fireworks, the sound of swaying branches and leaves turned into cheers, and the void stabilized into a starry sky, as warm as home. During the ceremony, Qingyu reviewed the process in his heart like a tide. From the night when the dream connection was accidentally discovered, to resolving minor conflicts at the port, from the fearful failure at the border, to the team reversal in the warehouse, from the selfless eradication of the fortress, to the fearless hosting now. Everything was like a dream, but it was so real that it made his nose ache. He thought, in the past, I was just an ordinary young man who was overwhelmed by family pressure, living like a sleepwalker, always feeling powerless to change. What now? Through the wagging of my tail, I connected people's hearts and resolved the blood debt of generations. The conspiracy of the black market, Qinhao's transformation, and the company of his partners, this transformation is not just a night, it is the getting up after every fall. The supreme honor is not the crown, but the legend, the peacemaker. From a boy to a hero, I finally lived out my life. His inner monologue was like warm sunshine, and he opened his eyes as bright as stars. It's done. Everyone, we did it. The turning point came quietly. Li Jing's eyes were moist. She leaned closer to Qingyu, and her long hair brushed his cheek, as gentle as the spring breeze. Qingyu, from childhood sweethearts to now, you have always been my hero. When I was a child, you pulled me to climb trees, and now you pull me to dream. Friendship, no, it is more complete. She stood on tiptoe and kissed his cheek, as sweet as candied haws. Qingyu's heartbeat skipped a beat, and he held her hand tightly. Jinger, thank you. Thank you for always being my anchor. Without your intuition, I would have been lost. This emotion is like a tail that never stops swaying. Zihan jumped up to their shoulders, swung his 3 tails in funny circles, and nuzzled the 2 of them playfully. Hey, disgusting. But I will always be by your side, the adventurous fox of the boys, and I won't leave even when you retire. Information, the dream world has given you an eternal connection. From now on, with a wagging of the tail, peace will last forever. Bowen walked over with a smile, his silver hair fluttering lightly. He patted Qingyu on the shoulder, inheriting the legacy like an elder's will. Child, you are the new guardian. My era is over, and the law of dreams is handed over to you. Remember, the swaying of the tail is not the power, but the heart. Go, reality is calling. His figure gradually faded, turning into a silver light and blending into the heart of the tree. The guardian of the dream will last forever in the new generation. The atmosphere of celebration was like a lively street party. Qianhao laughed and patted Qingyu on the back. Boy, I'll buy you the drink. From now on, the Qin family and the Li family will merge their trade, and the peaceful business will prosper. The phantom of his uncle extended from reality, and he laughed loudly. Qingyu, you have become a legend. The headquarters is safe, and the black market has been arrested. The police are giving you awards. Everyone gathered in a circle, and the aftermath of the swaying tails made the void echo with cheers. Li Jing handed phantoms hot milk tea, and everyone clinked glasses. Friendship sublimated like a warm current surrounding them. Cheers to the dream of no war. Zihan drank it all in one gulp and swung his tail in a firework-like arc, making everyone laugh. The dream faded, and their consciousness slid back to reality like a boat. Qingyu opened his eyes. It was already early morning, the sun was shining brightly outside the apartment window, and the buzz of the city was no longer chaotic, but a harmonious pulse. The news broadcast was like a congratulatory bell. The Li and Qin families signed a peace treaty, the black market conspiracy was shattered, and the war on the edge of the city was stopped. The family forces joined forces to rebuild, the port trade was restarted, and countless people were given a new life. The uncle's phone rang with an excited voice. Boy, get up. Qianhao is here, let's have breakfast together, and talk about future business. The city is quiet, and the pressure is gone. Qingyu took Li Jing's hand, and the two opened the door. Children on the street chased and played, and wild cats' tails waggled slightly, as if to convey joy. Qianhao stood downstairs, his tall and thin figure no longer gloomy. He handed over a box of hot Odin and smiled. Boy, the treaty has come into effect. The prison of the black market has been shattered. Our dream life begins today. Zihan's phantom appeared, flicked his silver tail, and ran into Qingyu's arms playfully. Hey, I have my share of breakfast. Qingyu looked into the distance. The city skyline was like a new picture. The neon lights were no longer a harbinger of war, but the lights of peace. A warm feeling of contentment welled up in his heart. His dream of no war had finally come true. From an ordinary young man to a legendary hero, although the road is tortuous, it is worth it. Holding Li Jing's hand and accompanied by Zihan's tail wagging, he stepped forward, the future swaying lightly like a tail, eternal peace continuing in every heartbeat.